NASCAR Winston Cup Racing 2000. As competitive as any season in history. 10 different winners in 11 races. But from this pack of champions, one driver is emerging as the next superstar. The new name is an old name. Dale Earnhardt is 7-time national champion, but it is his son, Dale Earnhardt Jr., a Winston Cup rookie, who in just 4 months has won 3 events and become an American racing hero. A week ago, he passed 9 established champions in the closing laps for victory. He entered the arena like a heavyweight champion for Wednesday's qualifying. He responded with a record lap that won the pole for tonight's race. Now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. reaches for one of the sport's most coveted prizes, victory in the Coca-Cola 600.
And now the time has finally arrived that we've all been waiting for. To bring us the command to start the 41st running of the Coca-Cola 600, the family and friends of our fallen heroes.
The 41st running of the Coca-Cola 600 at Lowe's Motor Speedway. We are about to launch this 33 horsepower, 33,000 horsepower all-American missile that will orbit this 1.5-mile track in the next few hours in quest of victory in one of the most important races of the year. Let's go topside. Here's Alan Bestwick.
Ken, thank you. Welcome to Charlotte. We're looking forward to bringing you an absolutely terrific race tonight. You know, the 2000 NASCAR Winston Cup season has been terrific so far because of 2 things: parity and unpredictability. Take a look at the championship standings after the first 11 races of the season. Just 78 points separate the entire top 5, only 201 points, all the way back to 9th place, Jeff Gordon. 10 different winners in 11 races. You just never know who's going to wind up in victory lane, and that's certainly the case tonight. Joining me for our call of the Coca-Cola 600, a man who knows well what it takes to get the job done here. 1968, 1972, and again in 1973. Buddy Baker, a little tired there, but in victory lane, celebrating a win in the longest race in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Buddy, pleasure to have you with us. 600 miles. How does it affect the drivers? How does it affect the cars?
Well, they tell me that a picture's worth 1,000 words, and you can see I was spent. Let me tell you, when you get down to that last 100 miles, that form-fit seat all of a sudden don't fit so good. Your arms begin to get tired. The sweat runs into your eyes. And you thank God to be able to have a chance to win the longest race that we run all year long, and you go after it. But let me tell you, you're a whip pup when it's over.
Buddy, appreciate you being with us. Look forward to a great race tonight. Also joining me for the call, the executive editor of Speedway Illustrated magazine, Dr. Dick Berggren. Dick, glad to have you with us. The talk for the last 5 days here in Charlotte's been about one guy.
There are 43 drivers in tonight's race, but the spotlight has shone most brightly on 25-year-old Winston Cup rookie Dale Earnhardt Jr. And why not? Already this year, he has won 2-point races. Last Saturday night at this very racetrack, he won the Winston. He won the pole for tonight's race. He even won happy hour last night. All week long, every time the crowd has seen Earnhardt, they have absolutely gone berserk. A rookie, one of the favorites tonight, maybe the favorite tonight.
The cars are beginning to roll off. Let's go down to pit road for more of the stories in tonight's Coca-Cola 600. Here's Marty Snyder.
Well, Alan, if Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the hottest young driver on the circuit, Jerry Nadeau is not far behind. He won 2 races last week. He's qualified on the outside pole today, and tonight he has perhaps his best ever shot at a win. But the 600 is an endurance race, a test of stamina and your equipment. Nadeau has had problems all year long getting the results that he deserves. Bottom line, if they don't beat themselves, Jerry Nadeau and his team might find their way into the top 10 by the end of the night, and just maybe into victory lane. To Mike Hogwood.
I'm in the pit of John Andretti. He's going to try his best to make it to the first caution flag tonight. He has a cracked split rib. He is in terrible pain. It happened last Saturday night in the Winston All-Star race. He injured it further in practice yesterday. Standing by here in the pits is Busch Series driver Tim Fedewa. He has told me, yes, he will be getting in the car at the first caution flag today. It's been 5 years since he's had a Winston Cup ride. Now to Mike Massaro.
Well, all the talk this weekend seems to be about Dale Earnhardt Jr., but let's not forget about his father. The 7-time NASCAR Winston Cup champ made his debut 25 years ago this weekend, and again is a strong contender to win. He has since made 46 starts here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, winning 5 times, including 3 Coca-Cola 600s. He was 7th fastest in happy hour last night. He has a brand new paint scheme. He doesn't really care for it, though, but he wouldn't mind putting it in victory lane.
43 drivers set to go in the Coca-Cola 600. Let's take a look at the starting lineup. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is on pole for tonight's race, the only 2-time winner so far in the NASCAR Winston Cup season. Jerry Nadeau seeking his first win outside of row 1. He'll start there. Row number 2, Bill Elliott, seeking his first win since 1994, and Jeremy Mayfield, the winner at California earlier in the month of May. Row number 3, Mike Skinner, finished 3rd here last race at Charlotte last October, and Kevin LePage from Vermont at one of his best racetracks. Row number 4 is the current point leader, Bobby Labonte, and alongside Labonte, the Winston Cup champion from '99, Dale Jarrett. Row number 5 is Tony Stewart, last to 4th in 1999 in this race, and Kenny Wallace trying to turn around a tough luck here. Row number 6, Jimmy Spencer alongside Michael Waltrip, the All-Star race winner here in '96. Row 7's Bobby Hamilton alongside Jeff Gordon, a 3-time Coca-Cola 600 winner. Row number 8, Dale Earnhardt, the 7-time Winston Cup champ, and Rusty Wallace, who's finished 2nd in 2 of the last 3 600s. Row number 9 is John Andretti, who you just heard will give way to Tim Fedewa in this race, and Steve Park could win number 1 come tonight. Row number 10, Mark Martin, always a favorite, a 3-time Charlotte winner, and Ricky Rudd, who makes his 48th Charlotte start. Row number 11 is Matt Kenseth, the Rookie of the Year leader, and Ricky Craven making just his 5th start in 2000. Row 12, Rick Mast in the A.J. Foyt car alongside Robert Presley. The 13th row, Brett O'Ryan, and Winston Cup rookie Scott Pruitt. The 14th row is Jody Nemechek and the defending 600 winner Jeff Burton. In row 15, Jeffrey Bodine makes his 2nd start of the season alongside rookie Dave Blaney. The 16th row is Ward Burton, just 3 points behind Bobby Labonte in the championship alongside Wally Dallenbach. The 17th row is Kenny Irwin and former Charlotte winner Ken Schrader. Row number 18, 5-time 600 winner Darrell Waltrip in a ride they bought earlier this week, and Sterling Marlin. Terry Labonte got his best finish of the season at Richmond a few weeks ago. He's alongside Chad Little in row 19. The 20th row, Johnny Benson and rookie Stacy Compton. Elliott Sadler had a top 10 car at happy hour yesterday. He's alongside P.J. Jones, starting in place of Robbie Gordon. And bringing up the rear of the field would be Mike Bliss in his Pontiac, starting 43rd. Now the Visa race analysis.
We're going to go 400 laps. It's 600 miles and a 1.5 mile quad oval. Pole speed 186.034, a new record. Pit window 65 to 70 laps. They'll be in for tires and fuel.
Field coming down, just about to complete the 2nd of their parade and pace laps. A look at the weather conditions, and that bottom line there is the one that could have an effect on the race. There are thunderstorms in the area. There are thunderstorms forecast for later tonight. And I suspect the crew chiefs are going to get a little bit antsy around the halfway point of this race watching the skies. Got a great lineup of onboard cameras for you on TBS tonight. Ward Burton will take us along. He starts in 31st position. We'll ride with the defending 600 winner Jeff Burton, starting back in 28th. We'll also be on board with Mark Martin. You see him strapped into the office and ready to go to work. And a 3-time 600 winner Jeff Gordon, who starts 14th. Tony Stewart, one of the drivers eligible for the $1 million bonus. He has a camera for us tonight, as does his Joe Gibbs Racing teammate Bobby Labonte, who starts 7th. We'll ride with Bill Elliott from inside of row number 2. The Georgian, always a fan favorite. And the man who starts on pole will also give us a ride tonight, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Mr. Headline, over the last 10 days of Winston Cup competition here in Charlotte. So the field half a lap away from the green. Buddy, drivers' thoughts now before they start a 600-mile race or what?
Well, they're going back and forth across the racetrack right now, getting all the excess rubber off the tires that they pick up going around here slow. Also, right now, he's talking to the pit crew, telling them what they want to know as far as everything's checking out, oil pressure, water temperature, all that. That's Tony Urey, his crew chief right there, getting the information from him. You can see the pit crew ready for the race to get underway.
spotters up top ready to do their job as we get set to go in a $3 million event. 400 laps, 600 miles, the 41st running of the Coca-Cola 600. Some 175,000 fans on their feet as we come down for the start. Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets the jump on Nadeau. He leads into turn 1.
Down the 1,360-foot back straightaway, about 185, 190 miles an hour. As you go down into turn 3, there's some bumps as you go into that corner that sometimes upset the car. You can see Jerry Nadeau's car moving up as Bill Elliott makes a run at him.
Elliott going for second spot as they complete lap number 1. Dale Jr. leads. Elliott is second. Nadeau is third. Mayfield takes fourth ahead of Mike Skinner, who's fifth.
Strong breeze here at the Speedway has blown a good bit of paper onto the racetrack that could get caught in somebody's radiator.
Here's Skinner after Mayfield for fourth spot.
They're still side by side. That's a good part of the early part of this race. The racetrack has had some running on it this week, so it's in good shape. You can run side by side and make it very competitive.
Now, we did have some rain earlier today. Was it enough to wash the rubber off the track and make this a really green surface, buddy?
What that did was just clean the surface, get the excess oils off, but it still has the rubber in it.
Still watching the race for fourth. Mike Skinner down low. Jeremy Mayfield up high. Skinner's car not carrying its usual paint scheme, carrying one of the military designs this weekend.
Diving down to the low side, gets a good run as he gets back in the throttle. As they come off turn 4, it looks like Skinner has the spot.
Not by much. Skinner has never won a Winston Cup points race. He has a car that nearly won earlier this year at Atlanta, and there are a lot of people who think maybe tonight's his night.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads. You see Bill Elliott in second, closing quickly on his back bumper.
Bill Elliott earlier today told me he liked this car. Ray Evernham has been an advisor. You know, next year he's going to move to the Dodge racing team. But right now, he's got a great crew and a very fast car, as you can well see.
Time since Bill Elliott's won a NASCAR Winston Cup race, and there's a long time to go in tonight, but they certainly feel like they have a machine capable of winning. You see the front three opened up a little bit of daylight on fourth place now, mostly because Nadeau and Skinner raced side by side there for that couple of laps around and let the front three get away.
Well, this morning, Tony Uri told me he's the crew chief of the number 8 car. Earnhardt Jr. said he wasn't sure the car was going to be all that fast at the beginning. They were really setting the car up more for the end of the race than the beginning. So far, so good. No one's been able to really even threaten Junior. Look at that junk blowing around.
I got to tell you something. That could be a problem with these cars because they tape the front of the cars up. As you can see on the front of these cars as they come by, they put a lot of tape there to get down for. If you get a food wrapper on the front part of that car now, it cuts off some of the air and could make it run high.
Looks like Dale Jr.'s car already has picked up a little piece of trash right underneath the Chevrolet bow tie symbol. Mike Hogwood, what about it from Dale Jr.'s pit?
Well, Dale Jr. has been very quiet on the radio. He just came on just a moment ago and said three words, actually. Guys, it's good.
Oh, well, that's not good news for the competition, that's for sure.
Well, that's good, but Bill Elliott's probably telling his crew exactly the same thing. Right on the bottom of the racetrack and back in the pack here, they're getting at it.
Jeffrey Bodine has lost a couple of positions here in this last lap. They're racing here for 32nd and 33rd position. Jeff Burton down low and Bodine up top.
Jeffrey's been working out. If he makes it through this race, it's by far the longest he will have gone since Daytona. He's been working out, trying to get himself in shape. He told me this morning he thinks he's up for it. He can go all the way.
Don't come down, Jeffrey. That's all I can say right there. He went down in the corner. It's a good thing he held the high line.
Jeff Burton, the defending 600 winner, starting way back in the pack in tonight's race, took the green flag in 28th position. As the change for the lead off of turn number 4, here comes Bill Elliott up front.
Needless to say, you could hear the crowd cheering over the noise of the cars as they came by. They love this race, and Jerry Nadeau now moving up on the back of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car also.
That was only the 6th lap that Bill Elliott has led so far in 2000. As good as he's been running, he's not been in the lead a lot. Here's a look at what happened off of turn 4 a lap ago.
The car jumped sideways. You can see the back of Earnhardt Jr.'s car step out. He had to back out of the throttle, and Bill Elliott just flew by.
Only the second race that Bill Elliott has led here at Charlotte since 1992. He led 30 laps in the 697, but Elliott has not spent a lot of time at the front of the pack at this racetrack in recent history. Going to see another lead change here. Elliott up the racetrack.
Earnhardt Jr. just gets in the throttle. They're going to run side by side all the way down the front straightaway, though, I guarantee you.
Awful early to be running this hard.
Might allow some of the other cars behind him to close in. Elliott up the banking. Nadeau going to try and take advantage of that opening to get second.
Elliott's car won't stay low, almost into the wall as he comes off turn 2 over there. Jerry Nadeau side by side as he heads into turn 3.
Won't stay low, or you think he's just not trying to force it, knowing that Junior was going to come back and be a little more desperate to lead than he was, and Nadeau probably a little more desperate for second than Elliott's going to be at this point. I mean, Bill's got so much experience. He knows this is a 600-mile race.
You know, you brought up a good point there, because most people find a handling place on the racetrack to fit the car to make the tires last for a long time. I noticed Jeremy Mayfield's car was up there just that lap. Sometimes you need to take that wider line just to cool the tires down.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. reassuming the lead from Bill Elliott. We're just underway in the 41st running of the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte.
The Coca-Cola 600 on the Superstation. Brought to you by Brewer Refresh Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR. Hey, race fans, this bug's for you. By WrenchHead.com. Parts online all the time. Are you a wrench head? By Citgo. You love racing. We love racing. And by Desonex. Soothes while it cures for comfortable feet.
The Coca-Cola 600 is underway at Lowe's Motor Speedway, Charlotte. Just 17 of 400 laps in. You're looking at the race leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. He and Bill Elliott swapped the lead twice between them in the opening 10 laps, and Jr. now with that advantage you see over the Georgia veteran. While we were away in the break, the change for fourth position, we saw Mike Skinner bypass Jeremy Mayfield for that spot earlier. Now Mayfield has made the return pass on Skinner, so Jeremy up to fourth. Skinner has dropped back to fifth, just ahead of Tony Stewart, who's in sixth. Now the man on the move in the early going is Dale Earnhardt. He started the race in 15th position, and he is about to take the 6th spot, make that the 8th spot away from Kevin LePage.
And you have to remember how well he ran at the sister track here in Atlanta this year. He won the race over Bobby Labonte by less than a half a car length, but he really gets around this type of racetrack extremely well.
Now remember, too, he's led more laps at this racetrack than any other driver in tonight's field, and he has won this race 3 times. Senior. Maybe I shouldn't call him that. Earnhardt,
he gets mad.
He doesn't like that. Earnhardt the Elder, or as one of our crew guys said, E1, is incredibly good here, and he has run really, really well all year.
I want to be there when you call him E1 the first time.
But that car does look strange.
Yeah, that's the Peter Max paint job that you've probably heard about over the last week or so here at Charlotte. Moving up and moving back. Well, Chad Little's gained a handful of spots. Jeff Burton dropped a little bit in the opening laps from his starting spot. Now has begun to pick him back off. And some drivers slipping back a little bit. Look at Bobby Hamilton. He's dropped some spots in the opening laps, 11th to 26. Tell you another one who started to slip back a little bit. That would be the Winston Cup champion, Dale Jarrett. He started in 8th position. He's lost 4 spots back to 12.
Now, Alan, this is one of the most heat-sensitive tracks that we run on. And right now we have sun on the back straightaway, dark conditions on the front. It's really tough right now to pick what you really want to do to the car on the first pit stop. But a lot of them out there right now are talking to their crew chiefs and going, we have to change it. It's pushing here or doing that.
There's Dale Jarrett, and he's fallen back to 12th spot. Mike Massaro, what's up with DJ's car?
And Alan, evidently Dale Jarrett has been developing a push in the middle of the corner. He's already radioed in, and they're planning on making a left side air pressure adjustment at the first stop.
If you're new to NASCAR, push means the front end's not gripping as much as the back, and the car wants to keep going straight when he tries to turn it left into the corners. 21 laps complete. Dale Jarrett, the Winston Cup champion, running in 8th spot behind Dale Earnhardt Jr., the leader. We're coming back to Charlotte in a moment. Today, log on to TBSSuperstation.com and follow live in-car camera action for the Coca-Cola 600. That's Elliott Sadler making his way up through traffic, back in 35th position, deep in the field.
I think he was 10th quickest in the last practice yesterday in the 21 car, so he's real excited about today, but he has to deal with this heavy traffic.
Here's a race for second spot off of turn 4. Jerry Nadeau in the blue-nosed machine with the orange stripe around the bottom, putting some pressure on Bill Elliott, who's putting some pressure on the race leader as well. Elliott's just using a higher line at both ends of the racetrack, and that's like waving the carrot in front of the horse for Jerry Nadeau. That bottom lane is just awfully tempting.
Look at this bunch. So they don't even care where they run. 3 wide coming off the corner there and down the front straightaway. These guys are going at it.
That's back for 31st and 32nd position. Kenny Irwin, Chad Little, Bobby Hamilton, Elliott Sadler. Surprised to see Ward Burton back in the middle of this group there. The gold and black car in the middle of it, the 22 machine.
Now, he had been really fast in the happy hour session, and they thought they had a great car for today, but so far it hasn't shown a whole lot. On the other hand, it's still daylight. We've got a long way. Oh, boy.
Sterling Marlin in the 40 got really squirrely there. He almost got in the back of Burton, the 22 car. As they got very close to each other, you can see the 40 car just go all over the racetrack.
I think he was trying to cut down behind Ward and follow him underneath Bobby Hamilton, but then realized he didn't have him cleared yet and was going to run into the back of him if he yanked that steering wheel to the left.
And Hamilton's car has had a wiggle in traffic the whole time here at Lowe's.
Yeah, he started 13th. He's back in 35th now and about to lose a couple of more spots. There's the view from Ward Burton's perspective. See that sun glare off the windshield before he gets behind the shadow of the grandstand in turn 4.
Ward second in points, just 3 out of the lead. This driver has never led the Winston Cup points. He's got a taste of it now, though.
One of the fastest cars on the racetrack belongs to Tony Stewart. He is working on Mike Skinner there, trying to get the 5th spot away. Stewart started back in 9th position. He was a couple of seconds behind Skinner, but 7-8 laps ago. Look how close he is to him now. Stewart's team owner is Joe Gibbs. Mike Hogwood is with him down on pit road.
We were just talking, Tony Stewart really moving up there pretty fast. Bobby Labonte running well. What's your strategy here early in the race, Coach?
Actually, both our cars, we just want to make a lot of laps there early. Feel the cars out. I think Bobby right now sliding the nose a little bit. Tony's pretty happy. So we just want to stay up front right now and make laps. It's a long night.
Yeah, long night, and it's still early. Mike mentioned that Bobby Labonte did have some paper on his grill. It caused the oil temp to go up to 250. It was a moment of concern here in the Labonte pit.
Yeah, there you see the piece of paper there on the right side of the grill, left as you look at it, but right on the car.
And you'd probably want to know why the oil temperature would go up. Well, your oil.
Here's a challenge for second spot off of turn number 4. Jerry Nadeau's going to finally make that move underneath Bill Elliott. Elliott's been dangling that low groove in front of him for a while.
Hadn't got it made yet. Bill fighting back on the outside. He'll get a great run up out of the corner there on the high side.
And while they race side by side, the 4th place car, Jeremy Mayfield, closing in quickly.
Hey, didn't get him yet.
You're outside. Keep him up there if you can, Jerry.
You know, that's one of the great things. That's one of the great things about this racetrack is they can run side by side all the way around, and neither groove is necessarily faster than the other.
Yeah, Nadeau has not gotten it done. He's given up on this attempt so far.
Now try to tell you why it was running hot. The oil cooler's up there in the grill, and once something gets over the front like that, the temperature just goes sky high.
A lot of cars with some paper on their grill. Looks like Mayfield's got a little bit of something on the bottom of his. So we'll have to keep an eye on it and see if overheating becomes a problem sometime through the course of the night. This is for second spot you're watching. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th all bunched together.
And Mayfield there, the last car in the frame there, is absolutely flying. He's able to go high or low, so he's working very, very well right now.
And that's Darrell Waltrip in the 85 that, if anything, is in the way right now.
Oh, boy. Do it.
Close call there. Now, I said that this track's great for having 2 grooves that are equal. 3, that's a different story. Nadeau's going to finish the pass on Elliott. Finally.
Maybe.
He's only been working on him for about 15, 20 laps now.
Well, Jerry Nadeau has absolutely. I know that Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been a big story, but so has Nadeau. He won twice last week, first time ever in Winston Cup, in the qualifying race here to get into the Winston, and He's just had a great week, and that car has been strong. Tony Furr, his crew chief, is really proud of the way he's conducted himself.
That's P.J. Jones in that bright orange car, subbing for Robbie Gordon. The Indy 500 was rain delayed earlier today. If you're not familiar, the race just ended a little while ago. Juan Montoya was the winner. Robbie Gordon finished 6th, I believe was the information I got. And obviously, since that race just ended, he's not made the trip to Charlotte yet, so it's P.J. Jones in his car. Mayfield around Elliott to third, behind that man, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who leads the Coca-Cola 600.
Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, presents the Bud Pole Award. The Coca-Cola 600 is one of the most difficult NASCAR races to win. The list of winners looks like a who's who in NASCAR history. Only the best of the best win at Charlotte. Although a driver can improve his chances of a good finish by winning the Bud Pole Award, only 4 different drivers have won the Bud Pole and the race in the same year. Fred Lorenzen was the first to do it, winning from the pole in 1965. Then Buddy Baker started first and won the Memorial Day Classic back in 1973. The very next year, David Pearson matched Baker by taking the pole and the race. Pearson became the first driver to turn the trick twice, winning again in 1976. Then it was nearly 20 years before another Bud Pole winner drove all the way to victory lane. Young Jeff Gordon got his first Winston Cup victory in the 600 back in 1994. In fact, all 3 of Gordon's wins in the 600 came while starting on the Bud Pole.
And there's the man who was the Bud Pole winner for the Coca-Cola 600, Dale Earnhardt Jr., his first career Winston Cup Bud Pole Award, and he's making good use of it in the early going in the race. Looking at the intervals now as we take a little look back through the field. Upper left of your screen, you see the distance in seconds up to the race leader, and what you're going to see there fairly quickly is that this field has gotten strung out. 11th place car, 13 seconds behind. Now here's Ward Burton riding back in 32nd position and very much in danger of getting overtaken by the race leader Dale Earnhardt Jr. Let's get an update from his pit with Marty Snyder.
Yeah, Alan, they started 31st, and they're now running 32nd, and there are troubles on the second-place man in points car. He has a bad vibration, and he said, guys, this car is junk. They were kind of surprised because they thought they would be a little better today. The car has a very bad vibration. He's loose, and he's not gaining spots. They're going to try and fix him when he comes in. They originally thought it was a tire that had equalized, but that is not the problem. It's just the chassis.
Ward Burton only 3 points behind Bobby Labonte in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship standings, and as tight as things are, 78 points all the way back through the top 5.
Way up top, and want to break loose a little bit more in the middle.
That's crew chief Tommy Baldwin talking to Ward there. He cannot afford to run in the back of the pack all night tonight, that's for sure. Now, we've had a little bit of shuffling in the top 5. Jeremy Mayfield has gone to 3rd position, Tony Stewart to 4th, and Bill Elliott has fallen back to 5th. Now, we told you at the top of our broadcast that John Andretti had injured himself yesterday. Actually, he injured himself last week. Tim Fedewa will get aboard that car, and Mike Massaro is in his pit with him.
That's right, Alan. John Andretti aggravated him a rib injury earlier this weekend. Tim Fedewa standing by to replace him in the cockpit of the 43 machine. Tim, what's the plan?
Well, right now, John hasn't said a whole lot. The original plan was first caution, and John was going to come out and I was going to go in, but he hasn't said a whole lot. We're just waiting to hear from him, and whatever he decides is what we'll do.
Right now, John Andretti, 24th on the racetrack. The last time Tim Fedewa was in Winston Cup competition was in 1995 at Dover.
Andretti right now running back in 25th position, still on the lead lap, but struggling obviously a little bit.
And the rib just broke in a practice session. Incredibly enough, John Andretti was just out there on the racetrack, went hard into a corner, and bang, a cracked rib broke.
Yeah, he said he heard it crack. Now that's bad, but he's showing a lot of guts out there right now. He's racing Jimmy Spencer and those guys, and not giving up a lot of ground to him.
Interval between the top 2 closing up a little bit as Dale Earnhardt Jr. got caught up in some lap traffic. You see that Jerry Nadeau has closed in behind him. There's Junior in the red car, Nadeau the next one behind him. We're coming up on the back of Ward Burton, the 32nd place car, to try and put him a lap down, having been overtaken already by the leader, Kenny Irwin, Sterling Marlin, Dave Blaney, Wally Dallenbach, Stacy Compton, Jeffrey Bodine, Bobby Hamilton, P.J. Jones, Darrell Waltrip, Scott Pruitt, Mike Bliss. Junior setting a pretty good pace around here.
Well, and they said they had the car set up for later. I just can't imagine how it could be much better than it is right now. Ward Burton fighting very well through 1 and 2, but when he gets down to the next corner, you'll see the car go straight up the hill.
We're already through the 50-mile mark of the Coca-Cola 600. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s led just about all the laps so far. We're back with more of our live coverage on TBS shortly.
54 laps complete, 81 miles, and from our Circuit City aerial platform, you can see to the west that there is weather moving in. Halfway would make it an official race. They've got a lot of going to do to get to halfway. Back to Alan Bestwick.
Can we have a new leader in the Coca-Cola 600? This is a moment ago while we were in the break. Dale Earnhardt Jr. appeared to slow a little bit off of turn 2. And Jerry Nadeau went blasting on by.
Well, then he picked the pace right back up. I don't know whether he was just maybe looking at the line that the 25 car is running on the racetrack or what, but he's still sticking right with Nadeau.
Well, it happened right when he was beside the 22 car of Ward Burton that he'd been trying to put a lap down for a long while. And they got awfully close together coming off the second corner. Earnhardt Jr. got out of the throttle just a tad, stayed out of the throttle long enough, and Nadeau went blasting on by.
Little patience shown there by Dale Jr. not wanting to put the car in a bind. Maybe he listened to Otis Redding instead of Eminem today. Ward Burton on pit road, lap 55. Marty?
And again, Ward has that vibration. His car is extremely loose. They try to tighten him up with him. He is down on the way and back out on the racetrack, but again, has a vibration. His car was also very loose on that run.
Ward just overtaken by the leaders and put a lap down before the stop. As Marty said, here's Bobby Hamilton. Troubles there on the right front. Hamilton all the way back in 41st position. Is going to go a couple of laps down with this stop. We're just getting near the 100-mile mark now and expect in the next 7 or 8 laps we're going to see all of the leaders onto pit road. Circuit City telemetry on board Bobby Hamilton's car.
Okay, you have a speed limit. You see him going right down on the speed limit. As soon as he passes the line down here, the RPM will go boom.
He did a nice job, kept it right on the speed limit until he got past that white line, and off he went.
And remember that these cars don't have speedometers on board.
Now, he's not allowed to go up over that white line until he gets on the back straightaway for safety reasons. Now he goes right up, but he does not go out in the racing line, if you notice, until he gets speed up.
We've got a change for third position. Tony Stewart has gotten around Jeremy Mayfield to pick up third. As we look at the leader picking through some more lap traffic, John Andretti, Jimmy Spencer going a lap down. Storyline of the first part of this race has been people get put a lap down early, and in a 600-mile race to have that done before you're even 100 miles in, that is not going to be a good night.
Well, one of the great things that happened to Nadeau yesterday in the last practice, he went in and got under a car and lost the back of the car, and they fixed it. So he don't have that.
Fifth place cars on pit road, Bill Elliott. He's in for service, Mark Massaro.
And the drive-through crew goes to work on the right side right away. This car's down right in the middle of the corner. They're going to try to free it up with an air pressure adjustment going up a ½ pound on both left side tires. Now they swing around to the left side. They'll make the 4th tire change. 2 cans of 76 Racing Fuel. He's finally down and away. 17.5 seconds. A good stop for Bill Elliott.
Very competitive stop. Jeremy Mayfield is in. Getting service on his machine.
Rusty Wallace comes down pit road also.
Jimmy Spencer's in. There's Rusty. Robert Presley's just leaving pit road. As we look at Wallace's crew go to work. What's the official signal? Signaling something. Rusty is going to get a penalty for being too fast entering pit road. That's going to be a 15-second penalty once they finish the work on the car. So when everybody steps away, there it is.
That was a brave official to stand there. Rusty did put it in gear, made as if he was going to go forward. The official timing it now.
15 seconds is a long time.
It's forever.
29.3.
Oh,
wow. That's almost a full lap around this racetrack.
Stacey Compton's also going to be coming back to pit road. He was speeding leaving the pit lane. He's going to get a stop-and-go penalty. Enforce the penalty if they can get it while you're still there. If you're speed coming in, they enforce it while you're on pit road. If you do it when you're leaving, you got to come back in. I think that's even more costly than the 15-second. Here's Steve Park on the pit lane.
Schrader in the grass trying to get in there.
That's brave.
Yeah. Or he's leaving the pit road, the whole deal there.
Tony Stewart is on pit road as well. P.J. Jones has been in for service in the Robbie Gordon car. John Andretti is also coming down pit road. We'll keep an eye out there to see if they make the driver change. Park's crew going to work.
Mark Martin's coming in.
18-8 on the parked car. He heads off. There's the Tony Stewart crew going to work on the Home Depot machine. Good stop. Look at that. 15.4. Terrific job by that crew.
See some high fives in that crew when they get him out back on the racetrack.
Here comes Junior
on the pit road. There's Dale Jr. coming in. This is lap 63, just shy of 100 miles. Mike Hogwood.
Well, Dale Jr. has told his guys, fellas, I wore the right rear blown out. Tony Uri Sr., Tony Uri Jr. heading up this crew that has done so well. No adjustment at all. 4 tires, a full tank of fuel for Dale Earnhardt Jr., the pole sitter. 16.5, what a stop. Nadeau, the leader, is in on pit road. Tony Stewart had called him in. There are going to be no adjustments here. Jerry Nadeau has been very happy with this car. They do have some planned adjustments to make with air pressure when it gets a little cooler on the track, but they're not making them now. Down around to the left side. Car is up on the jack. Tires are on. Looks like a good stop for Nadeau. Fuel is in. Oh, the engine shut off. Got it fired. He's away, but a costly stop.
Stop, guys. 16-second stop. Great stop. Go, Jerry, go.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. coming around, kind of racing Jerry Nadeau back off into the corner. Shouldn't be a contest because of that little glitch that Nadeau had trying to leave the pit lane. Well, where is he? Maybe it's going to be more of a contest than I thought.
Yeah, Nadeau's going down the back straightaway. He'll retain the advantage he had. He's already into turn 3. And Earnhardt just now getting there.
So Jerry Nadeau gets off of pit road ahead of Dale Earnhardt Jr. despite the little hiccup there when he dumped the clutch. Now Jeff Gordon is the race leader. He's not yet visited the pit road. It's Gordon, Kenny Irwin, and then Jeremy Mayfield, who will apparently win the race off the pit lane. There's Gordon. He just came down the pit lane, made his stop, is beginning to head back up onto the racetrack. So it looks like Jeremy Mayfield will win the exchange on this round of pit stops, and he should take over the race lead in just a couple of more laps here in Charlotte.
Exciting racing at Lowe's Motor Speedway in the 41st annual Coca-Cola 600. We've already covered 100 miles, and for the moment, Tony Stewart has the advantage. He just swept around Jeremy Mayfield after those first pit stops to take first place. Stewart now the leader. 6 lead changes. Nary a caution. And 167, well, that would give us a new record. But there's a long way to go and a lot of pit stops, and everyone is still running. Back top side with Alan Vester.
With a new leader, Ken, it is Jerry Nadeau sweeping by Tony Stewart off of turn number 4 to reassume the top spot. Nadeau out in front as we are just across the 100-mile mark. Caution-free so far. We've had 7 now lead changes among 6 different drivers. Nadeau getting instructions.
Oh, Stewart! Oh,
wow.
man, I thought he was gone.
And he should have been gone. He was that far out of shape, but Stewart did a brilliant job. Gathered the car back up again and hardly lost any spot.
Field summary upper left of your screen lets you know where everybody stands at this point in the Coca-Cola 600.
Nice job, Tony.
There we go. There's our field summary. You see Nadeau, the race leader, over Mayfield and Stewart. Dale Earnhardt Jr. fell back to 6th after the pit stops. He has just moved back up to the 4th position. There's Jr., Bill Elliott, one of the drivers who was chasing Earnhardt Jr. and in fact led a couple of laps early in the event. He's now 5th.
You can see that Nadeau has about a 15-car length lead right now, and the reason for that is Mayfield checked up when the car got sideways a second ago.
Dale Jarrett fell back some in the opening laps. He's up to 9th position. Mark Martin has moved up to 12th. He started the race back in 19th spot.
Jeff Gordon, 15th. He really engaged the car because you clear about 12, 14 car lengths.
He ran the longest than anyone on the fuel as we listen to Jerry Nadeau's spotter there. Farther back in the field, you will see the Ricky Rudd car and Jeff Burton. He had dropped back to some 30th in the opening laps of this event. Burton has moved back up nicely after the round of pit stops to 19th position. Rusty Wallace got penalized there on pit road. He was 10th before the stops. He's back in 16th now. We look again at Jeff Burton, who's running in 19th position, as we continue our rundown at the top left of your screen. At this point on the lead lap, 25 cars. Johnny Benson barely on the lead lap. Kenny Wallace and Ward Burton will be the final car on the lead lap. And now here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. as we focus back up front, tearing his way back up through the field as he's around Mike Skinner to grab fourth. Actually, Skinner's around him to grab fourth. Had that backwards, didn't I?
Bobby Labonte running in 6th spot right now. The 18 car, currently the points leader. Junior on the outside of him. Labonte's second in both races here at Lowe's last year. Can't come much closer to that without winning this thing. Got him.
So Dale Jr.'s car not behaving quite as well at this point in the race as it did on that first set of tires from the start.
You see Dale Jr. just then waved at Labonte. He said, thanks very much. You were very polite the way you passed me. Appreciate that, but now I'm going by you on the high side.
Let's go back a minute ago to Tony Stewart as he overtakes Jeremy Mayfield and reclaims the second spot. Stewart had a close call up in turn 3.
This is Stewart right here, and as he starts off the corner, watch the back of the car, just step out. He heads up the hill. That's great driving to just maintain control.
Stewart there. You know what he hit? Did you see that little black thing come through the bottom of the screen? There's a patch on the racetrack in turn 4, in turn 3 rather. I think he caught that with the left side tires and his car just broke traction.
Yesterday the racetrack broke up just a little bit. They filled it with concrete and epoxy last night. That's where the patch is.
Well, he just went through that same patch, but what happened there is he went in the left side, as you said, hit down in that patch, and he had the wheels turned back to the right because he was a little bit loose.
All those years on dirt tracks, I'll tell you what.
Right there. That spot that just went over.
All those years on dirt tracks, you just bounce around and try to gather the car back up constantly, and Stewart is a master at it.
See Tony Stewart's interval to the leader. He's losing ground to Jerry Nadeau right now. Nadeau's last lap was 172 miles an hour, and Stewart's was 169.7. Now, let's take a look at that black patch here. Look for it right under Stewart's car, coming right up. There it is.
There's two things to watch. The 12 car there on the inside actually pushing a wall of air up towards the back of the car also.
And we're under caution for the first time in the Coca-Cola 600. Steve Park just did kind of a lazy spin off of turn number 4 and wound up down in the tri-oval grass. He's driven the car away. There is Park. He was running in 19th position at the moment. And the yellow flag waving for the first time here at 80 laps into the event. So Steve Park, it looks like none the worse for wear, other than probably needing a new set of tires on that machine and a minute to catch his breath and get his heart to stop beating so fast. There's John Andretti's car. Let's go to pit road. Mike Massaro.
And Alan, we've waited most of the afternoon for this. John Andretti now slowly rolling down pit road. Tim Fiedel waiting to jump into the cockpit of that STP machine as the team now waits to do service on that car. But John Andretti's rib injury has gotten to the point where he can go no further.
Well, he's gone 120 miles, which is probably as far as you could expect a driver to go with a broken rib, and especially a freshly broken rib.
Well, I tell you what, I've had them, and they hurt so bad you can't get your breath. That's the bad part.
Andretti going to give up the 30th position at this point to come off the racetrack, and most of the other leaders are going to come in as well for service. Stop's going to be at lap number 81 of 400. Nadeau is in. Stewart, Mayfield, Skinner, all in. In fact, I believe everybody on the lead lap has come in for tires and fuel. Marty?
Tony Stewart is in. His car's a little bit loose. Just before that caution came out, he radioed the crew, I'm starting to feel a slight vibration in the pedal. So we have to keep an eye on that for Tony Stewart. Jeremy Mayfield is also in. He is in third. Stewart down away. Mayfield a little loose. He is also down away. Now down to, well, back upstairs.
Checking to see who's going to win the race off the pit lane. It's going to be Nadeau who will be first out.
Good stop,
You see Stewart out second.
14-9.
And there's the driver change with Tim Fedewa going in. Mike?
That's right, Tim Fedewa now jumping into the cockpit of the 43 machine. They're now cinching up the seatbelts and fixing everything inside their car so that it is appropriate for Tim Fedewa. John Andretti has now gotten out. He sits on the wall right now, collecting his thoughts, catching his breath, and now finally removing his helmet. We'll get a word from him in just a minute.
That's Phil Horton, the gentleman in the red shirt standing right behind Andretti. He's an athletic trainer and physical therapist that works with a lot of the drivers and no doubt there to tend to John Andretti's needs. Jerry Nadeau leads. We're under the first caution of the Coca-Cola 600. Tomorrow afternoon at 4 Eastern, catch the East-leading Atlanta Braves taking on the Chicago Cubs from historic Wrigley Field. All the Braves action on the Superstation tomorrow at 4 Eastern. Under caution for the first time in the Coca-Cola 600 because of that.
Allen right by himself off turn 4 as the back just stepped out. He was lucky nobody collected him. Back underway there. No harm, no foul. Just right on.
That would be Steve Park's car going around. Here's a look back from Robert Presley's camera as he leaves Park behind, spinning in a cloud of smoke.
That's Kenseth taking evasive action going through the infield in 17.
Park in 22nd position on the lead lap as the field comes off turn 4 for the restart. Jerry Nadeau's crew, fabulous job on the pit stop. He holds on to the top spot as we get back at it. Howell waving a green flag atop the starter's stand. Look at the jump that Nadeau got on Tony Stewart.
Big jump. Big jump.
You're laughing, Baker. What are you laughing about?
I'm just looking back here. You think they're not running hard? These guys that are a lap down are trying to get a lap back, and a guy like this gets such a great jump. There's no way to get a lap back because he's like a rocket ship on restart.
Second.
It's just disappointing for any event. I've never had to get out of a race car for any reason other than the fact that you know, you got a 24-hour race, but unfortunately, the cars are raced real loose. And now I think the car's a little better, but I can't turn the wheel like I need to turn it and wrestle the car like I need to wrestle it to give these guys everything they deserve. So it makes more sense for somebody in there that's healthy and try to get ready for it over.
Well, guys, the SDP car had to come in a second time because the first time they weren't able to change tires.
And that car back in 37th position, one lap down to the race leaders. Jeremy Mayfield around Tony Stewart for second. This is a little farther back in traffic. There's Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's running in 6th spot. He's just taken that position away from Bill Elliott, who follows him around the outside of Terry Labonte.
Father and son going down the back straightaway. Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the inside, and Bill Elliott putting a lot of pressure on the outside, and that is not. I'm sorry I called the wrong car there because the paint job's got me all fooled today.
That's Terry Labonte's car, and Texas Terry not having a good day. 29th position, a lap down. Here comes Dale Jarrett up through the field. Jarrett's finding himself moving forward under this run after that pit stop. He's up to 8th spot, trying to take 7th away from Bill Elliott. Now that's Earnhardt Sr. moving into the picture now.
Yes, it is.
There's Dale Jr. up ahead to the outside of Bobby Labonte. That'll be for 5th spot.
Got a glimpse of Mark Martin here as well. Martin currently running in 10th spot. Number 6 car. 7 top 5s in a row here at Lowe's Motor Speedway for Mark Martin.
Dale Jr. around Bobby Labonte for 5th. Moving up and moving back. Some drivers having good runs in the early going. Mark Martin gaining 6 spots. Kenny Irwin has gained some ground. Here are some drivers who've had some problems. Steve parked with the spin a little while ago, losing 7 positions. And Kenny Wallace has fallen back to 25th.
I'm watching Dale Jarrett there in the 88 car. He's moving backwards also. He's not able to keep the car down where he wants to have it, and he's losing position after position, not able to stay on the bottom of the racetrack.
His 10th spot he just lost to Kevin LePage. He may lose 11th to Rusty Wallace.
Rusty fighting back after that penalty on pit road. His team has been as happy with that car as any race car they've had all year long. Both Rusty and crew chief Robin Pemberton have been simply delighted with the performance of the car. We haven't seen the kind of performance tonight that we had seen earlier in the practice sessions.
Looking up ahead at Rusty Wallace and Dale Jarrett from Elliott Sadler. Sadler's machine running in 29th position, a lap down. Talk about Jeff Gordon for a minute. Got up and led a lap on an exchange of pit stops, but right now he's mired back in 16th position. Go on the lead lap. Let's get an update on Jeff Gordon's machine from pit road.
Well, Jeff Gordon is running 16th at the moment, and he's a little frustrated. Says the car is really very loose. His crew, headed up by Robbie Loomis, keeps telling him, be patient. This track is going to come to us. The car is going to come in later on. They keep reminding him it is one long race. But if you're a racer like Jeff Gordon, you want to be able to take it to the front at any time. He's just not able to do it right now.
Those track conditions are something that we need to address a little bit here. You could see from that shot from Jeff Gordon's car as Dale Earnhardt makes a move underneath Bobby Labonte to try and get a position away. That 6th spot, you can see the clouds have kind of eased up a little bit. The rain has moved away from us, and the sun's back out on parts of the speedway.
You can see the cars go from the shaded part of the racetrack onto the bright sunshine down the back straightaway there. And that's very, very difficult to have a great car when you don't have a consistent racetrack.
The cars are that sensitive to the temperature difference on this pavement. There they are back in the dark in the shadow behind the main grandstand of the luxury suites. And when they head off into turn number 2, they'll pop back out into the daylight. That difficult on your eyes, buddy, from inside the race car?
You know, it is, and that's always been a problem in Atlanta. When you go into turn 3, you go into almost a dark shade, and it takes a second or two for your eyes to really adjust. So when you take off down in the corner, if somebody slows up in front of you, you'll knock them.
And as sensitive as the cars are here to the temperature on the pavement, that can mean your car can be great on the backstretch and lousy on the front because it's sunny back there and dark over here. Jerry Nadeau is the race leader, 95 laps into the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. We're coming right back in a minute. Down on Lowe's Motor Speedway in twilight of Memorial Weekend Sunday night from the Circuit City aerial platform. Before long, you'll be able to see that 3 million watt lighting system. Bright as day over this racetrack, and it really is a spectacular sight here at night in person if you've never been here. The 175,000 looking on to the 41st Coca-Cola 600 are watching Jerry Nadeau lead. He's out in front of Jeremy Mayfield by 2.7 seconds. There's Nadeau, the race leader. Tony Stewart is 3rd, Dale Earnhardt Jr. 4th, and Mike Skinner is 5th. At this point, the rest of the top 10 are Dale Earnhardt, Bill Elliott, Mark Martin, Kevin LePage, and Rusty Wallace. And there's the 2nd place car, Jeremy Mayfield. Let's get an update from pit road on him and Marty Snyder.
And what a run for Jeremy Mayfield, although he is still trying to catch Jerry Nadeau. This is the same car that won California for Jeremy. And his car right now is a little bit loose, but he is like a lot of drivers. They are loose right now because they're hoping that the nighttime will come over this track and cool the track down. When the track cools down, it should tighten up the track and therefore tighten up the race car. So he's kind of set up for the nighttime runs, but Jeremy with a great run going. He turned 31 yesterday, and what a birthday present a Coca-Cola 600 win would be.
I guarantee he would enjoy that very much. We're just across the 1/4 point of the race, 102 of the 400 laps complete. Story in the first quarter of the distance. Dale Earnhardt Jr. dominated the opening laps, and then it was Jerry Nadeau who moved past him about 50 laps in, and he's been the dominator since. Now, Bill Elliott was up there, led for a couple laps earlier at lap 3 and lap 4, but since then he has fallen back into the field a little bit. Well, actually, he led at laps 8 and laps 9, but his fastest lap of the day was at lap 3. He's now fallen back to the 7th spot. Let's get an update from Mike Massaro on Bill Elliott's car.
And Alan, he had dropped as far back to 9th before moving up to 7th where he is right now. We talked with Kevin Cram, the crew chief for Bill Elliott. He says he's really not saying too much. The car might be just a little bit free in the corners, but they're not all that concerned at this time. They're still waiting for the car to come to them.
The brain trust that heads up the Bill Elliott team. That's Kevin Cram on the right and Mike Ford on the left. They are the two of the three who make the calls on Elliott's car. Of course, with Ray Evernham's advice on the outside now.
And it's really, really worked for them. But what this guy has got going for him, Jerry Nadeau, is almost beyond imagination. His best finish this year, 13th. His career best finish in Winston Cup, 5th. A couple of years ago, hardly nobody even knew who this guy was. Then a fellow named Tom Cotter took a liking to Jerry Nadeau, put together a sponsorship deal for him with Michael Hulligan, got him hooked up with the Hendrick operation. And look at the results. Out front today.
Do you know that Jerry Nadeau in his Winston Cup career before today had only led a total of 14 laps? Total. He has far surpassed that here in the Coca-Cola 600. Let's get an update on Nadeau's machine down on pit road.
Well, one guy who's got a smile in Jerry Nadeau's pit is the team owner, Rick Hendrick. He's led more laps today than in his entire Winston Cup career. You've got to be one proud owner, huh?
Yeah, he's doing a heck of a job. We're just trying to get him to pace himself, and he says he's really comfortable, so he's doing a heck of a job. It's been a good 2 weeks for Jerry Nadeau.
Tony Furr, the crew chief, just told him, you're so fast coming up on these lap cars, you've got to be careful. When you lap these cars, you're so fast getting by them.
Yeah, you know, I'm not sure I heard you, but, you know, he's running 2 or 3 tenths quicker than the other guys, and we just want to be there at the end of this thing. He really has adapted to Charlotte. Tony's given him a good car, and I want to tell my mom and dad hello at home. I know my dad wished he was here to see this.
And this is a great performance for the 25 team, and Papa Joe is listed as the owner of this car.
Would we consider this an update if Jerry Nadeau wins tonight? Well, maybe so, but he's doing a fabulous job so far, a quarter of the way into the 41st Coca-Cola 600.
World.
Back at Lowe's Motor Speedway under caution for the second time in the Coca-Cola 600, Stacy Compton, the reason why, apparently cut down a right rear tire going into turn 1, didn't hit the wall, but did drop some debris. Absolutely. So we see the yellow flag.
Absolutely, and the tire was real hot. They had a hard time getting it off, so Stacy lost some time, but it won't really matter because he was just lucky to have a race car after going that high up towards the wall.
Now, getting some reports that there may be some showers skirting the area of the Speedway again, so these pit stops may turn out to be really important if weather comes to shorten the event. You look at Nadeau, Mayfield, and Stewart in the triple box left of your screen. And let's watch how the crews do here going head-to-head.
Well, that's Jerry Nadeau on the top, Jeremy Mayfield, and Tony Stewart there. You see everybody taking all 4 tires. That's not an option.
16.4, nice job. Nadeau with the slowest stop in the top 3, and it's going to cost him the race lead. Here comes Mayfield. Is that Dale Earnhardt?
Yep.
Earnhardt's going to get out second.
And you can hear the crowd. We have a virtually soundproof booth here, but we could hear the crowd when Earnhardt came out in second spot.
Mayfield, Earnhardt, and Nadeau. Those will be the first 3. Then it's going to be Tony Stewart. Mark Martin's going to come out 5th. So great job there by the Mayfield team to get him out ahead. And a great job by Earnhardt's crew. He was, what, 5th or 6th going down pit road for that stop. Let's take a break while we're under the caution flag and come back for the restart of the Coca-Cola 600. The Coca-Cola 600, its 41st running. Live from Charlotte on Superstation TBS. Glad that you've joined us. We're getting ready for the restart, about another lap away. Let's get some recaps on those pit stops we saw a moment ago. Here's Mike Hogwood.
Well, in Jerry Nadeau's stop, there was a bit of a glitch changing the left rear tire. They were down and away, and then the concern was, did they get all the lug nuts on? Well, they have watched it closely here under the caution laps, and a huge sigh of relief in these pits. All the lug nuts are there. Jerry Nadeau is okay and in 3rd position. To Marty Snyder.
Well, Jeremy Mayfield came in 2nd and out 1st. They were a little loose. They put a half around into the left side. That should tighten him up from the middle of the corner off, make the car drive a little better. And as he was screaming down pit road, he knew he had a great stop. He said, "You guys are unbelievable," on the radio. Tony Stewart came in third, out fourth. It took a little time. He was also loose. They added a pound of air pressure to the left rear tire and also half a round into the left side. That should also tighten him up. Let's go to Mike Massaro.
Well, high fives all the way around down here in the 3 pit stop. After Dale Earnhardt came in, just took on 4 tires and fuel, no adjustments. The team was extremely happy. They came in 5th, came out 2nd. Alan?
Well, Dale Earnhardt's got a sniff of the lead here. He's going to restart in 2nd spot. Now, Rusty Wallace and Bobby Hamilton have dropped to the tail end of the line for this restart. Rusty Wallace was too fast speeding leaving pit road. Now, he came down pit road here. He didn't really have to. All he had to do was go to the back of the line for the restart, but he made the trip down pit road anyway, and he is at the tail of this group in 25th position. All right, let's keep our eye on Earnhardt, see if he goes after Mayfield pretty fast. They dispense with the lap traffic of Sterling Marlin into the corner. And now the top 2 are clear and up to speed on the back straightaway.
Jerry Nadeau hung up in traffic there, but he pulled to the inside down the back straightaway, down into turn 3. Back into the car, wiggles just a little bit on Nadeau. Look at Earnhardt.
If you close your eyes and just listen for the crowd, you'll know if he finishes the pass.
Here he comes. They love Dale Earnhardt here in Charlotte. Hometown boy, drives the way they like to see a fella drive. Look at him. That entire audience is applauding Dale Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt the elder. There he goes again.
He's going to get you for that.
Yeah, he is.
7th leader of the night is Dale Earnhardt. Now Nadeau pressing Mayfield for 2nd.
Mayfield has a very fast car down the straightaway. You can see a little bit quicker than Earnhardt on the straight.
4th place, Tony Stewart, trapped behind a couple of lap cars. Oh, Mayfield
baby.
Loosening Earnhardt up in 2.
The intimidator got intimidated.
Well, somebody's going to have to give.
Sparks showering from the cars.
Well, it's not going to be Nadeau. What a drive. Right by on the inside there to take over the lead.
Biggest night of his entire racing career. Jerry Nadeau back in the lead.
Mayfield for 2nd. The 3 cars behind those 2 are all a lap down. Then you get to Tony Stewart, the 4th place car, and Mark Martin, who's just gone by him, to put Martin to 4th and Stewart back to 5th. Looking ahead from Stewart's machine and Martin, who's just overtaken him. And the lap traffic that's got them bottled up and separated from the front 3.
Now the racetrack is in total shade now, so it ought to be very consistent. We'll see who has the better car.
Just caught a glimpse of ahead of Dale Earnhardt's car when we were riding with Stewart, really wiggling on the top side of turn 4 as he tried to get off that corner. Look at it. Wow. The back end just shaking back and forth.
Yeah, he's probably talking to him right now and saying, this set of tires is not exactly the way I want them, so we're going to have to make some adjustments. And everybody is waiting for the racetrack. You can see the lights are starting to come up on the cars. They're beginning to glitter, so the racetrack's going to get better, and the cars that are loose will get better.
Nadeau fastest on the racetrack at the moment. There's Ricky Rudd running back in 9th position.
Tony Kerr has just called to Nadeau and said, don't punish your tires. You just got brand new tires on. Take care of those tires. He doesn't want him to run off with this thing, even if Nadeau can.
Napa Field summary running up the left of your screen to let you know where your favorite driver is. At this point, 120 laps into the 400 that make up this 600-mile event. Just about to hit the 200-mile mark in another 14 more laps.
Tell you like a race with some underdogs up front, you got it. Here's Nadeau, never won a race in Winston Cup in his whole life, not a points race at any rate. Right behind him, Mayfield never even led a lap here at Charlotte.
Skinner and Earnhardt Jr. racing for 6th and 7th.
Earnhardt Jr. just keeps the power on there, and of course, Mike Skinner knows there's a long ways to go right now.
Jimmy Spencer right behind them. He's a lap down. As you look ahead from Junior's machine, the bright green car there is Kenny Irwin's car, and Irwin was put a lap down earlier in the event as well. He's back in 27th spot. Bill Elliott with some problems. Elliott slowing on the racetrack.
He's down in the apron.
He's down on the apron. That won't bring a caution out. I did notice some flames coming out of the exhaust pipe, so he turned the power off, and that's just unspent fuel there that you're looking at.
was running in the 11th spot.
Well, I wonder if they had a choice of a couple different engines in that car. They went with the engine that had the lighter weight components, and I wonder.
Durability, reliability, it's a factor in a 500-mile race, let alone a 600-mile race. And Bill Elliott will be coming to the attention of his crew momentarily, falling aside from the 11th spot here at this point in the event. Been since 1994 since Elliott's gone to victory lane, and it will obviously, the dry spell, continue for at least one more week as we watch Jerry Nadeau, who again had led only 14 laps in his entire Winston Cup career before tonight. He's been out in front for 64 circuits of this Coca-Cola 600 now. Well, the gloves are off, and he's taking it right behind the wall. Not a good sign for Bill Elliott. He obviously knows that whatever it was that happened is going to put him out of the race. You take the sorriest ride that any race driver can take.
Yeah, that red button you see there in the middle of the dash, that means the motor's on.
Jerry Nadeau leads by 1.3 seconds over Jeremy Mayfield, 125 laps into the 400 in tonight's race.
The Coca-Cola 600 on the Superstation, brought to you by the men and women of General Motors, whose commitment to quality brings you outstanding cars and trucks. By Visa, the preferred card of NASCAR. Visa, it's everywhere NASCAR fans want to be. By Big Kmart, changing for the better. And by Texaco, a world of energy.
Under caution for the third time in the Coca-Cola 600 single car spin off turn 4, much like the Steve Park spin of a little while ago. Mike Bliss went for a lazy spin down into the tri-oval grass separating the pit lane from the front stretch, but as you see, has continued on away, and all the fenders look to be in their proper place. Let's go into the garage of Marty Snyder.
Well, you see Bill Elliott is still in the car, and what they're doing, the oil belt fell off, and they're putting a new one on, and they're going to do that right now as Tony Santanicola, the engine builder for Bill Elliott's team, is going to go underneath the car. The oil, something came up and knocked the oil belt off, so they had a great race car. That's an odd problem to have happen, but it is something that does happen on occasion. The oil belt knocked off for Bill Elliott. They will get him back out on the racetrack.
Well, chances are he's run that car without oil pressure. The engine may well be damaged as everybody heads down pit road.
Stop's going to be at lap 131. Nadeau led last time coming down pit road, went out in third position. Let's see what happens on this exchange of stops. You look at Nadeau, Mayfield, and Dale Earnhardt in the triple box on the left of your screen. Last time Nadeau's crew had a 17-second stop.
Earnhardt's pitted way up pit road from Nadeau. They talked about a two-tire change on the 25 car. Tony first said no way.
Jeff Burke is out awful quick. Wonder if he got 4 tires or 2. Who's going to win the race off the pit lane? It looks like it's going to be Mike Skinner. I believe that's Skinner's car that was first off the pit road.
Yeah, and DJ's right behind him, Dale Jarrett.
Dale Jarrett had a great stop.
I think we might have just seen some two-tire stops. We'll go back and check with our pit reporters and recap things for you. But for Skinner to go in 6th and come out in the race lead, I'm going to wager he might have just gotten a pair of right sides only. Under caution in the Coca-Cola 600. We'll come right back.
Esquire with you here on TBS Circuit City aerial platform, giving you this shot of the double dog leg. We have seen just an outstanding performance by a dark horse in this race, Danbury, Connecticut's Jerry Nadeau, and after 195 miles, race summary is looking like this. Mike Skinner, making a two-tire change, has taken first place. 11 lead changes. We have had 3 cautions for 12 laps, and 42 of 43 starters are still out here and competing. Let's go to Marty Snyder.
What a heartbreaking day for Bill Elliott. Bill, what happened?
We had something, it took the teeth off the oil pump belt. We run an external oil pump, and it's a rubber belt. And when we came in, the teeth were gone off the belt, and I noticed it didn't have any oil pressure. or not a lot when I went down in turn 1. And when I started down the back straightaway, I got nearly into 3, and it went down, and I cut it off, but it was too late. It seized the motor up. They tried to put a belt on it, but it wouldn't start.
And they did try to fix it, but it would not start. Bill Elliott will be done for the night.
I could just about bet you that he lost the oil pump. It quit turning, and that was shear the belt.
We're getting set to go back racing as the field is bunched up double wide up in turn number 3. Lap cars to the inside. Let's tell you that Mike Skinner, our pit reporters say, Dale Jarrett, the second place car, and Jeff Burton, the fourth place car, got right side tires only on their stops. Dale Earnhardt, the third place car, Jeremy Mayfield, Tony Stewart, and the rest of them all got 4 tires. And by the way, Jerry Nadeau, who was the leader going in, he is going to restart in 8th position as the green flag is back out.
This is where Nadeau has to use a lot of patience. He has a great race car, but he's back further than he's been all day long. We'll watch and see how he does as he comes towards the front.
Here comes Earnhardt inside of Jarrett. Jarrett to the outside of Skinner. This is for the race lead.
Colin back in the green car out front. Not contending for the lead.
5 bonus points for the 88 there, Dale Jarrett.
Jarrett, the 9th different driver, to lead the Coca-Cola 600. Dale Earnhardt to 2nd. Mike Skinner back to 3rd. Remember, Jarrett only got 2 tires on the pit stop. Earnhardt got 4. Let's see what the 7-time champ can do with the defending NASCAR Winston Cup titleist.
Boy, Earnhardt's car is so very quick. Kenny Irwin is dropping back just a little bit. You can see him going on both sides of him as they go down the front straightaway.
New leader. Dale Earnhardt back out in front.
And that car is not jumping around like it was just a second ago. It looks like it's on a rail now, so I'm sure they did a lot of adjustments on the air pressure on the tires. He looks very good now.
Ricky Craven has just taken his car behind the wall. The main driver, the second car to go back behind the wall, joining Bill Elliott, the only 2 drivers not on the Speedway of the 43 that started. Boy, look at that shot, top of the screen. There is some weather in the area.
Heavy weather.
Here's Jeremy Mayfield on the move, down low.
And there's a storm brewing right on the racetrack right now. Jeremy Mayfield down on the bottom. You see him very careful getting in the corner there. If you run too close to the car on the outside, it's a turbulence between the 2 cars that'll pull that inside car towards the outside of the racetrack.
Car Mayfield is alongside is Sterling Marlin, who's not on the lead lap. He is in 26th position. The second car, make that the 3rd car, 1 lap down. Now, Wally Dallenbach in the green car, he's in front of leader Dale Earnhardt, and if he can stay there and get a quick caution flag, he'll get to come all the way back around and be back on the lead lap.
Alan, you're exactly right. He hasn't lost any at all to Dale Earnhardt. He's been out there just about that distance for the last 4 or 5 laps, but I think Earnhardt now is in the draft, and he's starting to catch him.
Colin back in the TBS dinner and a movie car here tonight. I wonder if Annabelle's cheering him on.
I'd imagine.
Yep.
That's got to make him feel pretty good that he's got a decent car, because that's the leader of the race trying to catch him right now, and he hadn't caught him in about 7 laps now.
Here is Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to fend off Jerry Nadeau. Nadeau had taken 5th position from Earnhardt Jr. a lap ago. Now Earnhardt Jr. right back around him. Tony Stewart right behind them, making this a 3-way race for the number 5 spot.
Sterling Marlin in the 40, not on the lead lap. Ironically making his 40th start here.
Did you hear that with Junior in the gas pedal?
Yes, he was feathering back and forth, and that means it's not tacked down on the racetrack like he wants it.
And look at the difference in sky from the view ahead into turn 3 and out the back. Back down the back straightaway. The horizon really in varying shades of colors here as weather threatens this Coca-Cola 600.
And Mike Skinner is on the move right now. I'm sure that Larry McReynolds, his crew chief, is saying, you better get on up there.
Great race. Back for 3rd, 4th, 5th, actually for 2nd spot. That's Dale Jarrett, the number 2 position. There's Skinner in 3rd. Mayfield right behind them, dealing with the Sterling Marlin lap car. Then Dale Jr., then Jerry Nadeau, then Tony Stewart.
Dale Jr. right now, 2 or 3 times he's tried to make it 3 wide and just couldn't quite make it happen.
We mentioned a second ago that Ricky Craven took his car behind the wall. Let's find out why. Marty Snyder's with him.
And what a heartbreak for Ricky Craven, who started 22nd, has got as high as 8th. What happened? Why are you back in the garage, Ricky?
Well, I'm really not sure what happened, but extremely proud of these guys. You know, the way things started this year was very difficult for everybody, but we turned it around the last month and a half. We've really made a lot of progress. I just wish I could talk to you at the end of the race instead of like this, but it's progress, you know, and I'm proud of these guys.
They had a good car at Richmond as well here today. They have a miss in the engine. They're going to change the battery as well as all the spark plugs, and they hope to get him back out on the racetrack.
Change for position, the 3rd spot, maybe 4th and 5th. Jeremy Mayfield on the move, got around Mike Skinner a lap ago. Now Dale Jr. and Jerry Nadeau are going to try Skinner.
Dale Jr. down on the bottom side, gets back in the throttle, pulls even with Skinner as they come off turn 4. Oh, you see the car wobble on it. Even on the straightaway, there's a lot of turbulence between these cars. He's losing a few spots there, had to get out the gas.
Now, Skinner's driving incredibly hard tonight. A few laps ago, he was involved in a 3-wide deal. He just put the left side wheels right through the infield and kept on going.
We are 200 miles into the Coca-Cola 600. Upper left of your screen, a full field summary lets you know where everybody stands. Dale Earnhardt leading the race. Dale Jarrett fell back in the early going. He's moved back up to second, got just 2 tires on that most recent pit stop. Jerry Nadeau's been the dominant driver of the night so far. He's led 67 of the 145 laps as we watch Mayfield take Jarrett for second. There's Nadeau. Tony Stewart, Mark Martin, Jeff Burton. Burton was way back at 30th in the early going. He's moved back up into the top 10. He got just right side tires on the last stop. Matt Kenseth has had a solid run, started 21st up to 12th. Rusty Wallace penalized not once but twice. First time 15 seconds for speeding entering the pit road. Second time a stop and go for speeding leaving pit road. Ward Burton had some problems earlier in the event that dropped him well back in the field. His handling was just off. He's moved back up nicely to 16th spot. There's Rick Mast, who has had food poisoning all week, waiting to hear if he's going to give way to a relief driver in that car. Mike Dillon is standing by in case Mast needs relief. Farther back through the field, Ken Schrader moving up to 21st position. Jeff Gordon having an off night. He's back in 20th. And the last car on the lead lap is Michael Waltrip in 23rd position. We'll look through the rest of the field rundown in the upper left of your screen.
And those poor drivers, they have to look up there if they're not leading this race and see these black clouds all the way around the racetrack. Now we see the blue sky just behind the front grandstand here as they come off turn 4, but it is really dark down in 3 and 4.
But don't forget, it's not an official race until we get to 201 laps. So even if it were to rain now, there's really not a lot at stake in terms of the urgency there.
You're exactly right on that. Earnhardt Jr. wants to be in the lead when they come back to that halfway as he wiggles off the corners there. But he is already up to 2nd spot now.
Great race here for second between 5 cars. Earnhardt Jr., Mayfield, Nadeau, Stewart, and Jarrett, who's sliding back through this group. All this, though, going on 3.2 seconds behind Dale Earnhardt, the race leader. So you got the Earnhardt family occupying the top 2 spots of the Coca-Cola 600. Very popular with the local fans in Charlotte. We'll come right back in just a minute.
Racing Radios, the leader in racing communications worldwide. Call us today at 1-800-669-1522 for all your two-way needs for race teams and scanners and headsets for the fans. Mack Trucks are furnished by Clement Chevy Mack Sales. For all your truck and tractor needs, call Clement at 1-800-369-MACK. Featherlight, the official trailer of NASCAR, CART, IRL, NHRA, ASA, and World of Outlaws. Remember to call Featherlight for all your trailer and motor coach needs at 800-800-1230.
Under caution in the Coca-Cola 600 for the 4th time, Dale Earnhardt and Dale Earnhardt Jr. See, I resisted calling him senior. Got off pit road first and second. Now let's take a look at the reason for the yellow flag. It happened up in turns 1 and 2.
The 77 car there, Robert Presley, gets into the back of Pruitt, turns him sideways, and this triggered the accident on the back straightaway. Pruitt hits the inside wall there, spins around.
Looking out the front of Jeff Gordon's car.
That's how much you can see when you go through a wreck, too. Can you imagine that at 180 miles an hour?
So after a round of pit stops, everybody took 4 tires. The running order basically stayed the way it was. The Earnhardts at the top 2 spots in the Coca-Cola 600. Superstation TBS at the Coca-Cola 600, Lowe's Motor Speedway in Charlotte. Thank you. We appreciate it. Appreciate your being here and showing us off to everyone in the infield. I'll bet they're having a great time tonight. They may not be having a great time in a little while here, and I don't think I'd like to be up in that hot air balloon either. Because while we were in the commercial break, we saw this off in the distance.
Yow.
Watch. Whoa. Not too good.
No.
We'll hope that that stays away from us. As you can see, the weather has been changeable all night long. We're still not yet at halfway. It still would not be an official race if the weather comes in, but we're creeping closer and closer to that point where it's going to start to give the crew chiefs fits if the weather does close in. In fact, they've got enough fuel on board now to run to the halfway point of this race, so they may have just made the last pit stop they'll make. And the one who lost the most track position on these pit stops is Jeremy Mayfield. Came in 3rd, went out 18th. They made an adjustment to one of the shocks on the car that took a lot of time to do. He's lost a lot of track position.
Well, what do you think? 25-year-old kid, the 49-year-old veteran.
I'm going to tell you right now that that kid in 2nd spot is just absolutely thrilled for the opportunity to race his father in one of the biggest races ever.
Elliott Sadler, 24th place, first car a lap down, overtaken by one Earnhardt.
Oh, he had to back out the throttle a little bit. He and Elliott Sadler almost collided coming off turn 2.
Here's the view from inside Sadler's car. He lets the 2nd place car go. That's kind of proper etiquette, right? Once you've had your chance to get your lap back and you didn't succeed, to kind of get out of the way.
Yeah, and they know they have to go because that 25 car of Nadeau's on the run there in 3rd spot.
Etiquette. I wonder how many times the word etiquette's been used on a NASCAR telecast.
Yeah, especially with a couple of Earnhardts up front. You know, they raced together, side by side, went right at it last year at Michigan in IROC cars. Earnhardt, the other that won that one. Yeah, here's Nadeau right in the middle mixing it up.
Nadeau trying to get 2nd away from Junior, who's trying to get the lead away from his dad off of turn number 4.
I got to tell you, that's hero material right there. That 8 car just won't give up. He's going to the outside down into turn 1.
And here comes Junior to the outside of Dad. Flashbulbs exploding in the grandstand with a picture of the 2 Earnhardts racing for the lead in the Coca-Cola 600.
You don't think that lightning in the background didn't catch those drivers' eyes either. You can see the sparks starting to fly off the back of the cars. They're there in the daytime, but they're really prevalent at night.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. led most of the first 47 laps of this event.
Nadeau on the outside for 2nd.
Wow. We've seen Dale Earnhardt's car be inconsistent in its handling tonight. He's been really good in a couple segments of the race and not so good in a couple of others.
Well, let's remember, too, we've got new tires on the car, and he's a veteran, and he knows. Take good care of those tires on the very first lap, and it'll serve you well in a long run.
And Tony Furr has probably told the 25 of Nadeau, don't worry about the tires, go after it. It's getting close to the halfway mark now. If you have something, pull it out of the hat.
21 laps to halfway. Nadeau looking wide, turn 2.
Holy cow.
Eat a man, clear all around. Not 1, but 2 Earnhardts. Clear all around. Good job, buddy. Now get your pace back.
And Dad by Junior. Back to 2nd.
Well, Junior lost 2 spots because he was down low, and he's had a problem with the loose car.
Get your rhythm back now. Be patient.
That is the Jerry Nadeau crew chief and spotter talking to their driver.
Dale Jarrett currently running at 4th spot. Barely see him in the picture. A bunch of lap cars in the way.
Jarrett's 4th. Bobby Labonte's just taken 5th away from Tony Stewart.
I was waiting.
And fourth away from Dale Jarrett.
I was waiting on Bobby Labonte to start coming up through there. He knows it's getting close to money time. He'll move up. Every segment, he'll move up.
The NASCAR Winston Cup Championship leader, Bobby Labonte, makes his first appearance tonight in the top 5, up to the 4th spot. Now, let's go back to Jeremy Mayfield, who we told you restarted in 18th position. And let's get more on what they did on that pit stop that cost them so much track position. Marty Snyder.
Well, and these teams are very aware of the impending weather, and that's why it's so surprising that Jeremy Mayfield took the time to make a shock adjustment. When you make a shock adjustment on a pit stop, it's a very big adjustment. It takes a long time, but it's also a very dramatic adjustment. Jeremy had a pretty good car before that. What they did is they took one sweep out of the right front shock. What that does, it opens up the right front shock a little bit, and that should loosen up the car, especially off of the corner. Jeremy was tight. He restarted 19th. Currently, Jeremy is back up to the 17th position.
And while we watch the two Earnhardts go at it, Dick, what physically has to be done to take a sweep out of a shock that would take him so much time?
It's just a bunch of adjustments that are available on a shock absorber. They start messing around with those things. You don't just take the wheel off. You've got to make the adjustment, then you get the wheel back on again.
Kind of stick a little, I don't know, a little piece of metal inside a little nozzle at the bottom of the shock, and you turn it one
round.
You got to reach on there and twist it around. Pass for the 5th position is Tony Stewart's going to get by Dale Jarrett. Put Stewart up into the number 5 spot. And as you can see, we're getting closer and closer to halfway. The weather may be getting closer and closer to us.
And it may not too. You may have used your car right now, and it never rained at all tonight.
Scott Pruitt involved in bringing out the 4th caution of the race. His car's behind the wall. Mike Hogwood is with him.
Well, his crew is working feverishly on the car. Scott, what happened?
Well, we just got down in turns 1 and 2, and I think just got a little bump from behind. This car, there's so much on the edge anyway that just, you know, any little bit of bump can really set you off. And unfortunately, we started out real slow. The car was real loose. We made changes. The tight car was running a lot better. We were working our way back towards the front, and unfortunately, got taken out.
Scott Pruitt disappointed, but his crew's working hard. They hope they can get back in this Coca-Cola 600.
Jerry Nadeau has opened up that interval of the lead, 1.26 seconds over the Earnhardts. Dale and Dale Jr. There it is. Bobby Labonte 4th. Tony Stewart 5th. Closing in on halfway in the Coca-Cola 600 with weather threatening. Back at Lowe's Motor Speedway, Charlotte, North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte, the Coca-Cola 600 nearing its halfway point. Alan Bestwick with Buddy Baker and Dick Berggren. Jerry Nadeau has been the story so far. The young driver from Connecticut is out in front by 1.7 seconds. He's led most of the first 170 laps of this event, seeking his first Winston Cup Series win. The Earnhardts are running 2nd and 3rd, but in a different order than when we went to the commercial. Dale Jr. just made the move around Dad to pick up the number 2 spot. And looking back from Dale Jr. at Dale Earnhardt now. Bobby Labonte is closing quickly on Earnhardt there for the 3rd position.
And as soon as Junior passed his dad got on the radio and told the crew that it's tight coming off. The car not handling as well as he wants it to.
That's Bobby Labonte you see just behind the Dale Earnhardt car. Back end of the frame.
And for the people that don't know what tied off means, that means you're turning the wheel, it won't take a good set, and it's going to the outside of the racetrack.
A little farther back, Matt Kenseth is having a terrific run in this Coca-Cola 600. He started in 21st position. There you see the scoring serial on Matt, just slowly but surely picking off spots one at a time. He's up to 7th now.
He and Robbie Reiser have made a great team in Busch Grand National, and they've really adapted well into the Winston Cup. See a little spark coming out of the exhaust pipe there. That's just when they back off, it shoots that fire out of the exhaust. Jack Roush's cars do that.
Most folks have a hard time understanding how, if Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won 2 races, Matt Kenseth can be leading Rookie of the Year. But it's based on your best finishes in the year, and Earnhardt Jr. has had a terrible problem with consistency in the spring. He's got the 2 wins, but he's also got a few finishes in the 30s. Kenseth's been from the top 10 to about 20th almost every week. Behind Kenseth, Rusty Wallace runs in 8th. They had been racing with Mike Skinner just a little while ago, but Skinner's now disappeared back to the 11th spot. Let's hear from his crew chief now, Larry McReynolds, down on pit road with Mike.
Well, guys, a developing story with Mike Skinner. He had been up towards the front most of the evening so far, but he just radioed in and emphatically said this car is extremely loose. We're with crew chief Larry McReynolds. And Larry, what are you planning to do?
Well, obviously I couldn't hear what you were saying, but I'm pretty sure he's asking. You know, we're pretty loose, and that's the frustrating thing about this business. We didn't make any adjustments on that last pit stop. We just changed 4 tires, and I would believe, if anything, the racetrack's tightening up. So I just got to believe this is a loose set of tires. We're going to make a slight adjustment to tighten him up on the next pit stop, but we got to be careful not jumping the fence.
Good thing is, it's a long race, but as the clouds come in and the sun sets, the track continues to change.
Saw Steve Park bypass Mike Skinner to pick up the 11th spot. Park recovering from a spin earlier back at lap number 81 that dropped him back to the end of the lead lap, but he has recovered quite nicely, matter of fact. While we watch Jerry Nadeau continue to lead, we also watch the very ominous skies building over Lowe's Motor Speedway. Mike Hogwood is down by the NASCAR weather radar station in the Winston Cup garage. Mike?
And it's very colorful, and that's not what race guys here want to see. Here's the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and it's clear right now, but you see that line of thunderstorms and some of those storms blinking red not too far away from the racetrack.
And that's all just a matter of which way they move from there.
And blinking red is mighty ugly. They are threatening. The weather people have said that we've got some really tough stuff in the area.
Jerry Nadeau leading the Coca-Cola 600. Right now, 23 laps from halfway. Sign you up right over the phone. Hope you log on to TBSSuperstation.com tonight. Follow live in-car camera action. 41st running of the Coca-Cola 600. You can ride with Robert Presley as he has somewhat of an adventurous drive. His car is skating way up by the wall as he heads off of turn 2. Here's our Circuit City telemetry on board the Presley car. Robert is not running among the lead group, but he is on the lead lap in 22nd position. There are 23 cars on the lead lap as we close in on halfway. Keeping an eye on the radar. And the weather as well. That's the NASCAR official up on the roof who is there to supervise the team spotters. He's got the binoculars out. He's looking at the weather that's to the north of us. As we take some of our camera shots and you look around, that big glob that we saw on the weather radar is basically just to the north of the Speedway, and that's out behind turn 4. When you see the camera shots out behind turns 1 and 2, you'll see sunny skies like that. And when we swing around like that, that's the stuff to the north. And again, it just depends which way it moves. If it moves to the south, we're in trouble. If it moves to the west, like it should around here, and I say that making no guarantees, but living locally, then we should be okay.
I say that most of the bad weather is up around Concord right now, and over towards Lake Norman, there's a few isolated patches there, but back towards Charlotte looks pretty good.
It may be raining at your house and mine, but it's so far very nice here at the Speedway. This is the race for second spot as we check the full field summary upper left of your screen. 16 laps away from halfway. Dale Earnhardt leading Bobby Labonte for that third position. Here's Matt Kenseth, been on the move while we were away in the break. He's moved up now to the 5th position from where he was just a couple of laps ago in 7th. Marty Snyder on Matt Kenseth.
And what a whale of a run for Matt. As you said, Matt, Alan, 21st to 5th so far. He's a little loose right now. They're going to add a rubber to the right front screen. That should tighten him up a little bit. This car Matt is running, they took it to Texas. It ran okay there. They were running up in the top 10, top 15 when they got into a wreck. Wound up finishing 31st. They brought it back to the Winston Open, and it ran terrible. The whole race, practice, everything. And in the last segment of the Winston Open, the last little bit, they finally found something that worked for them. Actually, it was a no-bull sprint, a 16-lap race. It worked perfectly. That is the same exact setup Matt Kenseth has on the car right now, and they have hit on it. He is in 5th, and they think they can make the car even better.
There's Dave Blaney's car. You saw the way the Rookie of the Year candidates are running. Dave Blaney a little bit farther back in the field. He's in 24th spot. He's the first car 1 lap down. Mike Skinner being caught by Jeff Burton. Burton reeling him in. This is for 12th and 13th as they work around the lap car of Jimmy Spencer. Spencer's back in 27th position, 1 lap down.
The Winston last week was really the very best possible test session the drivers have had for this event, because it's the only real opportunity that they had to run at night in a competitive environment. All the practices have either been run during the day or at best at twilight. Now, one other car that's using the same setup that he had in the Winston is this one. Exactly the same setup that they used last week under the 25.
Jerry Nadeau has led 94 of the 187 laps that we have run so far.
Keep digging. You're all right.
Communication from the spotter down to the driver. A second spot about to change hands. There's Nadeau. Looking at the way some of the multi-car teams are running in the Coca-Cola 600. There's the Roush Brigade. I'd say it's a pretty good night for them so far. 4 of their 5 cars in the top 14 spots. Hendrick Motorsports doing very well with Nadeau, but certainly disappointed with Gordon and Labonte.
The worst he's ever finished in this race. Gordon is 4th, and he's all the way back to 17th right now.
Not a bad night for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, not to mention that the boss, the owner, is running 4th in the Childress car. Rusty and Jeremy, 7th and 14th.
Yeah, they don't want to see it rain.
Yeah, Richard Childress there with Earnhardt in 4th and Skinner in 12th. And the Joe Gibbs car is doing very well tonight here in Charlotte. Bill Davis Racing. Ward Burton's had a yo-yo night. Back to the front, to the middle of the pack.
The difference in the sounds of the cars and the difference in the gearing here. A lot of people are running a very high gear to keep the engine from turning too much RPM, trying to make the distance 600 miles. Other people just twisting them right out of the frame.
Team Sapco, Chip Ganasky going to be coming on board as a controlling partner in that team from Felix Sabates. Petty Enterprises, Tim Fedowa taking over the car from John Andretti, who got out because of the rib injury that he suffered here during practice, which was actually kind of finishing off a crack that started last weekend in a crash at lap 1 of the Winston.
Yeah, that had to be tough to get out of there. Ricky Rudd's been running very, very consistent tonight also, but look at the leaders here.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has caught Jerry Nadeau just about pushing him into turn 3. He caught him fast, too.
Nadeau's going up the racetrack right now. Looks like the handle may be going away just a little bit. Earnhardt has really turned it up another notch right now.
Well, they both see the weather, and they're both going for that 200th lap. We're on lap 192 right now. If we do get rain, could be it.
8 laps from halfway. This is the race for the lead. If the weather moves in, as Dick said, this could be the race for the win. Nadeau almost on the apron. Here goes Junior for the race lead.
Now that was a good example of what I was talking about, the handle going away. He went in very hard. He noticed the 8 car on the outside. He was too loose to let him go up there and keep the power on.
That's a move a 25-year-old can make.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. led most of the first 49 laps of this event, 47 of the first 49. He's not been out in front since, except for a couple of laps at 158 and 159. Now, 7 laps to halfway. Dale Jr. goes to the point as weather threatens. Tony Stewart has fallen back to 9th spot. Marty, give us an update on his car.
Yeah, and in fact, he's gone from 5th to 9th in the last 10 laps. And a minute ago, Greg Zaffadelli, the crew chief, said we're going to pit in about 28 laps. Tony replied, I'll be in the wall before that. His car is extremely loose, and the longer he runs, the looser it gets. So he has a handful out there for Tony Stewart right now. Plus, the wind has really picked up out on the racetrack.
When the wind picks up around here, that's not a good sign.
No, especially if you're loose, because the back end's trying to pass the front anyhow, and you get the wind blowing on the car in a certain place, it makes the back really try to come around.
And the wind would be a sign that the weather's getting closer.
And Tony Uri has just been on the radio to Junior and said, be patient, be patient.
Wow. Buddy, give us a look at what Tony Stewart's doing here, and how much is he fighting this car?
Well, he's definitely fighting in the corners, and what that means when they say loose, he turns it left to get in the corner, and right back to the right. You'll watch him pull his right arm down. He's back in the front easy, but right there, he's fighting the car coming up out of the corner. Just a second ago, he came off turn 4 completely sideways, had to get out of the throttle.
And as folks here watch Winston Cup races and so on, and they hear all this talk about tight and loose race cars, basically there's only one way to fix that when you're on the racetrack and can't come to pit road. Stay out of the gas longer.
That's exactly right. You have to change your driving style if your car's not working.
The leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. caught in double wide lap traffic. That's Bobby Hamilton's machine ahead of him. P.J. Jones subbing for Robbie Gordon in the orange car as they slice through. Now, we saw the lap with Tony Stewart and the car not handling so well. Let's ride with one that's running pretty good. Watch the movement of his hands on the steering wheel and listen to where he is on and off the throttle.
Well, he's right under the 4 car right now. You'll probably see some hand movement there because he is under another race car, but as he starts out of the corner, you can see even lap cars run about the same speed down the straightaway. It's in the corners that the good race cars make their time.
Bobby Hamilton in 35th position. He is trying to keep from going 3 laps down the race leader. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is pulled away from Jerry Nadeau by about 9 or 10 car lengths. Let's get more on pit road on the Dale Earnhardt Jr. car from Mike Hogwood.
So if you were watching our happy hour show yesterday, you may remember Dale Earnhardt Jr. saying, hey, the middle part of the race, I'm just going to kind of cruise. I want to be ready for that final 100 miles. Well, Tony Eury Sr. says, hey, take it off a cruise. It's time to go to the front. We want to lead at halfway. And they did remind him that this same sponsor had a victory today in Indianapolis as well. They're going for a clean sweep.
1 lap from halfway for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Next time he comes by, there's Tony Eury, the crew chief, team leader, veteran team leader on the Dale Earnhardt Jr. team. When he comes back around this time, you'll see the cross flags at the starter stand, and we will have an official race 1 lap from that point.
Tony Eury Sr. for many years was crew chief for Dale Earnhardt the Elder on this NASCAR's Busch Grand National Series, won lots and lots of races. Crew chief for Steve Park, Jeff Green. Boy, when he hit it with Junior, he hit it just right. It's a wonderful combination.
Boy, there's a pessimistic stat for the Dale Earnhardt Jr. team, isn't it?
I wouldn't count on that tonight.
The question is, are we going to get the full distance in?
Yeah, and that's the other thing we have to remember. Every time you go down in that corner and you know there's bad weather around here, you hope you don't drive off in that corner and hit a rain patch, because we run basically slick tires down there, and if they get water on them, buddy, you're in trouble.
While we were watching Dale Jr. take the halfway point, second spot changed hands. Bobby Labonte around Jerry Nadeau, just past midway in the Coca-Cola 600.
City aerial platform giving us these shots of the Lowe's Motor Speedway. We are officially halfway plus now. It is an official race. If we got into inclement weather, they could call the race at this point. Nobody wants to do that except one person, Dale Earnhardt Jr. out in front. 16 lead changes today, 4 cautions for 16 laps. And of the 43 starters, 40 are still on the track after 300 miles have been completed. Let's get back with Alan Bestman.
All right, Ken, upper left of your screen, Napa Field summary lets you know where everybody is running. Just past the midway point of the race, Jerry Nadeau's been the dominant driver in the Coca-Cola 600 so far, but he's fallen 3 seconds behind the leader at this point. Matt Kenseth, a terrific run, moving up from his starting spot of 21st into the top 5. Rusty Wallace has overcome 2 penalties to get into the top 10. Jarrett, Winston Cup champion, back at 8. Steve Park overcame an early spin to run 9th. There's Tony Stewart. We talked about his handling moments ago. He's fallen 19 seconds behind the leader. Mike Skinner got some track position early with a 2-tire pit stop. Jeremy Mayfield picking his way back through after making a shock adjustment and giving up 3rd spot to go all the way back to 18th on a pit stop a little while ago. Pretty solid run for Michael Waltrip. 18th spot on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap, in fact, is Michael Waltrip. Now you see all these cars 1 lap down. Ward Burton had run up through the field a little bit earlier. Then the handling on his car has slipped off just a little bit, and he's fallen back into the field. Ken Schrader, 23rd position. Joe Nemechek, Chad Little, and Dave Blaney also a lap down. Elliott Sadler made his way up from his starting position of 41st. Not been a good night for Terry Labonte. He's a lap down. Last car 1 lap down. And some of the cars more than a lap down. Tim Fedewa in for John Andretti. In the Petty Enterprises car, P.J. Jones in for Robbie Gordon after the Indy 500 was rain delayed earlier today. Gordon finished 6th in that race, but it ended just as we were firing the cars up to start the 600. Obviously, Gordon not able to make it here in time for the event. Bill Elliott is out of the race. Ricky Craven is out of the race. Scott Pruitt is out of the race. And that is the full field summary just past halfway. Top speeds at this point, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Bobby Labonte running very comparable lap times. Bobby had been closing in on Dale Jr. a little bit ago, but now that interval between the two is kind of stabilized.
Yeah, stabilized, if anything, opened up just a tad. Junior running a very, very nice pace out there. All by himself in the lead. He's got a 1.7-second lead over second spot.
That sounds like a lot of time on the racetrack, but that's one slip in one corner. All you have to do is get a little bit sideways, and that would be down to a car length or less.
We are coming up on 60 laps from the last set of pit stops, so we should begin to see the leaders coming down pit road shortly. In fact, here's Jeremy Mayfield in for service. Ward Burton has also been on the pit lane as well. This stop a little bit early at lap 211. Marty?
Well, Jeremy did not make the progress that he wanted to, Alan. He restarted 19th after the shock change, and he only got up to 15th. His car is still tight, too. They put the round wedge on the left side, down and away. Jeremy Mayfield all back on the track.
Here's Michael Waltrip fighting to stay on the lead lap, the 17th place driver now. Kevin LePage is on pit road. He was on the lead lap until coming in for service. So much for Michael being on the lead lap as Junior goes by him.
So long.
Yep.
Michael, a 5-time winner here in this Busch Series competition.
And the Winston, the All-Star race. Yep.
Winston Open twice.
You can see why he's going a lap down. He's rim riding around the top of the racetrack. The car's not handling just the way he would like to have it.
There's Ricky Rudd up to 6th position. There you see the scoring serial on Rudd. He slowly picked his way up to being just outside the top 5. Mike Hogwood.
Well, he just told his crew chief, Michael McSwain, that this car is really coming in for him. He loves every change they've made. They've made great pit stops all night long. So far, this has been a great night for Ricky Rudd. He's told his crew tonight might be the night they win at Charlotte.
There's Tony Furr, Jerry Nadeau's crew chief in the upper right of your screen, looking on, waiting to see when he'll call his driver onto pit road out of 3rd position. As we watch Rudd put a lap on Glencoe High, runs in 37th position, nearly 4 laps down to the race leader. So far, the weather has held. That blob we saw on the radar north of the Speedway has stayed north. We stay under the green flag just past halfway in the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. Back at Lowe's Motor Speedway, Charlotte, in the Coca-Cola 600, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the race leader. Green flag pit stops have begun. There is the 3rd place car, Jerry Nadeau in, Mike Hogwood.
And Jerry Nadeau is not near as happy as this car as he was at the beginning of the race, so they are going to make a major chassis adjustment on the car to try to tighten it up just a little bit. Left sides are on. Nadeau is down and away, 17th flat.
There's Dale Earnhardt, Mike Massaro.
And Dale Earnhardt Sr. had radioed in. He was just a little bit loose. They did make a wedge adjustment. They took a half a round out on the right side. Also a slight air pressure adjustment. 4 tires and fuel, and Dale Earnhardt Sr. was away.
And the race leader, Lowe, is off of turn number 4, getting down to the 45-mile-an-hour pit road speed limit. Dale Earnhardt Jr., 20 laps past halfway, giving up the top spot. Bobby Labonte was in while we were away in the commercial, as was Mike Skinner. And let's cover the Dale Earnhardt Jr. pit stop now to Mike Hogwood.
Well, Tony Eury Sr. has called him in. He had been telling him to take care of his tires. He has done a great job of going to the front and really listening to his crew chief. Crew coming down now to the left side. Good pit stop underway for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Let's go down to Marty Snyder.
Matt Kenseth comes in running second. His car was a little loose. They had contemplated putting a rubber in the right front. They decided not to do that. They're going to try and tighten him up with air pressure. Matt Kenseth down 16-9, a nice stop.
Dale Jarrett has not yet stopped. Expecting him to come onto pit road momentarily. There's DJ. He'll take over the race lead on the track. Well, no, he won't either. He's going to duck onto the pit road and come in for his service. Green flag stops here, lap 221 for Dale Jarrett, one of the cars carrying the colors of the branches of our armed services this Memorial weekend. Let's cover the Dale Jarrett stop.
And Dale Jarrett now coming down pit road, 45-mile-an-hour pit road speed. The Quality Care 14 waiting to spring in action on top of the wall. They're off the wall. They swing around the right side. The car has been a little bit tight. They're trying to make a wedge adjustment, but the wrench has gotten caught up in the fixture, and they finally get it in and do take out half a round on the left side. Now they'll swing around to the left side. It's a 4-tire change 14.6 seconds for Dale Jarrett.
Now, on the exchange of pit stops, it looks like Bobby Labonte's gotten the upper hand on Dale Earnhardt Jr. Labonte out in front. There's Jr., who will come off pit road in second spot, but a little bit ahead of him on the racetrack is Bobby Labonte. There's Bobby, and he's going to assume the top spot at lap 223. First time we've seen the Winston Cup point leader in the top spot all night. 5 bonus points there for leading a lap. And Bobby takes the advantage of good work by his team to the #1 spot in this race.
Boy, oh boy, I tell you something else about him. He's very consistent. And he's hard to catch. He's very quick around these types of racetracks. And Earnhardt Jr.'s got his work cut out for him catching that car.
Bobby, one of 5 drivers involved in the No Bull 5 chase for the $1 million bonus tonight. He's in the race lead.
Marks off the bottom of the 93 car. That happens when they fill them up with fuel. Loads the back end of the race car down closer to the speedway, and boom, they'll bounce it right off the racetrack, and that's where you get the spark.
What's that feel like from behind the wheel, buddy?
Also, right in front of the left front wheel there, you'll notice the exhaust system right down on the racetrack, and when you put that extra weight in there, Doctor was talking about, it makes the back sag down, and going in the corner, the sparks will fly.
When you bounce it off the racetrack, does it get your attention from behind the wheel?
Oh, yeah, it'll make it jump sideways sometimes if you bottom out hard enough.
An update on pit road from Mike Hogwood.
Just as you said, Alan, they have made some changes in their motor development over the last couple of weeks, and they are not getting the fuel mileage that everyone else is, but they gladly have traded it for the horsepower. They do have one concern on the 18 car. They have noticed a crack in the tailpipe, and that is a bit of a concern for the Bobby Labonte team right now.
Yeah, we were talking about that among ourselves during a commercial. Let's just point that out on the air. Bobby Labonte had been last year getting some of the absolute best fuel mileage of any car on the NASCAR Winston Cup Tour, but Jimmy Maycar, his crew chief, told me in the garage this morning when I inquired about their fuel range for tonight's race that they gave up a little bit of fuel mileage this year to make a little extra horsepower. There's a fine trade-off there. Now, the effect of a crack in the exhaust pipe would be what?
Well, the big thing is you hope it don't blow a piece off of it, because if it does, their tune, their length has a lot to do with the horsepower. It's kind of like cutting the exhaust off on a motorcycle. You kill the performance if you cut them too short.
Yeah, but you got to have a little of it in a motorcycle.
I don't know. I've heard your motorcycle before, Dr. Berman. Bobby Labonte, now the race leader after an exchange of green flag pit stops, 227 laps into 400 in Charlotte. Back at Lowe's Motor Speedway, Charlotte, some 175,000 on hand to see the 41st running of the Coca-Cola 600. And we are delighted to bring it to you live on Superstation TBS. Riding with the race leader, Bobby Labonte, had not led all night, but went down pit road second to Dale Earnhardt Jr. At lap number 221, Jr. stopped. Bobby had stopped about 3 laps earlier. And when the exchange of pit stops was over, Labonte was leading. This was about March 12th back in Atlanta. Bobby had won a couple of weeks earlier at Rockingham and almost beat the 7-time Winston Cup champion on a track that a lot of folks consider to be very similar to this one. 1.5 miles, the quad oval, the double dog leg, the whole thing. The shapes of the corners are a little bit different, but Labonte certainly has been, I think fair to say, his best tracks have been at the Charlottes and Atlantas and those 1.5 mile, 2 mile tracks. There's Dale Earnhardt running in 4th position. Looking at some who've been moving up and some who've been sliding back in the middle stages of the event. Chad Little moved up 11 positions. Bobby Labonte 9th to 1st. Matt Kenseth, we documented his terrific run, and Rusty Wallace trying to overcome not 1, but 2 pit road speeding penalties early in the event, and has moved himself back to 6th position. Now sliding back, Tony Stewart. His car handling deteriorating rapidly. He's back to 12th position. Wally Dallenbach, Robert Presley, Sterling Marlin, they have been struggling in the center section of this race. There's Presley. We showed him earlier fighting to keep that thing off the wall.
That close.
He's had a wild night, Robert Presley has. He's been all over the racetrack just trying to hang on to that thing.
I don't even like riding with him with a camera in the car. You know it's got to be bothering him.
Circuit City telemetry in Presley's car. And you can just hear by the onboard microphone there, he's out of the throttle a long time in the corners.
Yeah, and you can see right there, he was out of the throttle, and Nadeau just goes by him like a bullet. Now they go down the corner. Watch how Nadeau just drives away from him as he goes up the racetrack and right against the wall.
is no fun at any speed.
Especially when you're only halfway into this thing. Now, Jerry Nadeau that we just saw go by led so much of this event earlier in the evening. He's led 100 of the 236 laps. But when he came down pit road for his service just a few laps ago, Buddy's eagle eye caught something there a little funny on the right side of the car.
Well, the biggest thing I noticed is the right side of that car is, well, I understand that Mike Hogwood has the report on the 25. Let's go down and hear what's wrong.
So, Buddy, just before he came in for that pit stop, he brushed up against the wall. It was a scary moment for the entire team, and especially for the driver, Jerry Nadeau. Now his crew chief, Tony Burris, says, take a deep breath. We're going to be okay. They had a great pit stop. He didn't lose any position. He is running third.
You saw when the car came by the frame there, Buddy, that the right side paint not as pristine as it was before.
Yeah, it was pretty well damaged, but the good part was the tires didn't have any damage. It was all sheet metal.
There's the leader, Bobby Labonte, 237 laps in to 400 that make up the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte. We're coming right back.
The Coca-Cola 600 on the Superstation, brought to you by WrenchHead.com, the online automotive superstore. Millions of replacement parts, performance parts, and accessories. WrenchHead.com, parts online all the time. Are you a wrench head? Buy the motor oil that provides maximum protection. Castrol GTX, drive hard. And buy Wendy's Classic Hamburgers. It's hamburger bliss.
Looking down on Lowe's Motor Speedway, Charlotte, getting reports that the rain is right about on top of the racetrack. You ride with the race leader, Bobby Labonte, as he cycles down the back straightaway. Here's our Napa Field summary. Look at the rundown after 243 of the 400 laps. Lead lap 15 of the 43 starters. Only 3 cars not on the racetrack at the moment. Scott Pruitt, Ricky Craven, and Bill Elliott's machine all retired from the event. On board with Dale Earnhardt Jr. is fallen now 1.5 seconds behind leader Bobby Labonte. Mike Hogwood has an update on his car.
I think probably for the first time since he's been here at Charlotte in his car, he's actually complained a little bit about it. Says the car has gotten a whole lot worse. It's really loose on the racetrack. And as Tony Eury Sr. does so often and so calmly, he just says, hang in there.
What else do you tell him to do at this
There's
point?
not much you can tell him to do. Right now, Junior's a 1.5 seconds behind Labonte, and the thing that surely is worrying him is that view through the windshield that you just saw, those heavy black clouds just to the north of the racetrack. Boy, it won't take much before those things open up, and that could be the end of it here tonight.
He's closing on it, though. Dale Jr.'s closed the last couple laps.
You're exactly right. And the reason he's doing that, I think he did calm down when they called him and said, listen, just drive your race. We'll fix it when you get in here. And sometimes when you slow down, you actually go faster because you don't abuse the tires.
Tony Stewart in the 20 is a lap down.
NASCAR has spotters placed all around the racetrack watching for debris and things like that. And right now there's a lot of radio communication from the race director, David Hoots, to a lot of the spotters around the racetrack asking if there's any rain falling.
Well, we haven't seen any in the windshield so far, but it's looking really ugly.
So far, the reports have come back. Well, now they've come back positive. Caution.
Oh,
there it is. Caution for rain. The skies have just opened up. Caution for rain at lap 246.
Whoa, and they did open.
It's amazing. You know, NASCAR has got so much experience doing this. They've been through this situation so many times, how they just had people around who knew when the weather was getting close enough that it began to be a concern.
Yeah, and did you see Tony Stewart got his lap back? Let him go.
They just radioed in and said he didn't beat Bobby.
Didn't beat him?
To the start-finish line, so he's going to have to go back. I think by the time Bobby found out it was Tony that was right behind him, it was too late. He was already at the start-finish line. And with the rain, he wasn't, and us being past halfway, he wasn't going to back off and let Stewart go by and take a chance on letting Dale Jr. beat him to the stripe, certainly.
Exactly right.
Well, this stuff's been hanging around for most of the night. This weather has, and it's finally just creased the edge of the speedway. Not much on the windshield of the car, as you see there, but we did see that shot up into the lights by where all the spotters are standing on the roof next to us, and there were some very thick drops pelting down there. Jerry Nadeau running third behind Bobby Labonte and Dale Earnhardt Jr. at this point. Let's get an update on his car from pit road.
They are hoping it rains in the worst way. They have developed a miss in the motor. They think it might be a valve spring.
The leaders have pitted under the caution for rain when the race is past halfway. This is interesting. Bobby Labonte, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in, Matt Kenseth in. Trying to see if anyone has stayed on the racetrack to try and maybe slip one away. Kevin LePage stayed out. He is the last car on the lead lap.
Nadeau stayed out.
Mike Hogwood.
Well, they're taking 4 tires and fuel. Oh, the motor stopped. He missed on the motor, and what a tough break for Bobby Labonte, making that maybe questionable decision to come on pit road. We will check with Jimmy Makar in just a moment as to what's behind the decision.
Earnhardt Jr. beating Labonte off pit road, but they're going to be behind Jerry Nadeau, who has stayed on the racetrack under the caution flag for rain.
Well, the crew chiefs know what's going on weather-wise, too. They watch the radar. That's a calculated risk, though, to pit at this time.
I can remember a couple of races in recent history being stolen in the rain. Most prominently in my mind, Darrell Waltrip at Darlington was not the fastest car. He wound up getting the win in the Southern 500. Dave Marcus at Richmond, 1982. We'll see what happens with the weather when we come back to Charlotte in just a minute. Stay with us. Next Sunday night on the Superstation, as a 60s hipster secret agent, Mike Myers stars as Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. It's a world broadcast premiere next Sunday, 8 Eastern Time, only on the Superstation. Well, we've got quite an interesting scenario playing out here in the Coca-Cola 600 as you look down on Lowe's Motor Speedway from the Circuit City aerial platform. We're under the caution for rain. 2 cars stayed on the racetrack, Jerry Nadeau and Jeff Burton. The leaders, Bobby Labonte and Dale Earnhardt Jr., and the other lead lap cars all came in for tires and fuel under this yellow for rain. Let's go down to pit road to Mike Hogwood.
Well, let's get the answer for the reason to come down on pit road during this rain caution from crew chief Jimmy Makar.
Well, actually, we've got people watching the weather all around the racetracks. We're on radar screens and up on top of the roof of the stands, and what I'm being told is that this shower is just going to be a light one. It's probably going to stay north of us, and it's clearing behind it. So we're figuring and hoping that the rain's going to be a light shower. It's going to get away. We're going to go back green flag racing, and if we do that, then everybody that didn't take tires in pit right now is going to have to come back in and get their tires and put them in behind traffic. So we're gambling that we're going to go back green again, and we're going to be able to be out front when it gets started.
That's the strategy here in the 18th pit to Mike Massaro.
Well, one of the drivers who did also come down pit road for tires and some adjustments also with fuel is Dale Earnhardt. And Richard Childress, the team owner for the 3 car, can comment on the strategy and the rain in the area, the threatening weather. How has that changed your strategy?
Well, you know, right now we were debating on staying out our pit, but we figured as good as the car was running, we still needed to make some adjustments on it. We made several adjustments at stop. You know, we're here to try to win the race, and if it goes back green, we're going to be in good shape.
To Marty Snyder.
And Frank Stoddard is the crew chief for Jeff Burton. And Frankie, why did you decide not to stop?
Well, I was hoping nobody would. I was hoping that everybody would pit except for us, but the 25 stayed out. Just taking a chance. We were running 11th. I thought there was 15 in the lead lap. Turns out I think there's 16. Actually, maybe 14. But regardless, you know, just taking a shot. I mean, you don't know how long this rain's going to stay. It's 9 o'clock now at night. It's going to take a couple hours to dry the track if it gets real saturated. And, you know, I think these fans want to go home if it gets real wet here, so I'm trying to look out for the fans.
Let's go back to Alan Dustin.
Frank's not bashful about lobbying a little bit on the air, is he?
Well, you know, he won last year in Darlington with the car. It started raining, crashed into the wall. The car come to a stop. But he went by the flag stand, stopped behind the pace car. If it had started back green, he would have never been able to move.
Well, you can see the rain is not heavy, but it is heavy enough we can't run it in. How about the leader's decision not to pit? Let's find out.
Well, they're doing rain dances all around down here in the Jerry Nadeau pit. Tony Furr, what's the story with the car?
Well, we're just waiting on it to rain right now. These other guys win in the rain, and so we're going to try to do the same thing.
Now, what about these reports that there's problems with the engine on the 25?
Well, we're not sure. He said it was missing a little bit, and we're going to change boxes here once we get back up to RPM. We'll see then. We're not sure. It may be an ignition box.
But you want it to rain right now, big time. All right,
Tony
the rain
Furr,
dance underway here.
Tony Furr, the crew chief for leader Jerry Nadeau, watching the rain fall at Lowe's Motor Speedway in the Coca-Cola 600. We're coming back in a minute to see if we can restart this race. It's the Back at Lowe's Motor Speedway, Charlotte, the Coca-Cola 600 is under a rain delay, and it's about to be under the red flag. Jerry Nadeau, the race leader, staying on the racetrack under this caution flag, hoping the heavens were going to open up and that we would not be able to get this race restarted. It's raining a little heavier, heavy enough that we're going to see the race not be restarted. Well, we don't know that yet. We'll wait a while before we find that out. But for now, it is heavy enough that they're going to bring the cars down pit road, cover them up, and park them. And the Coca-Cola 600 is going to go under the red flag at lap 254 of 400.
So crew chief doesn't just have to set the car up and hire all the right people and have great pit stops and have a terrific motor. Needs to be a great weatherman as well.
Meteorologist Todd Parrott that we saw there a minute ago. Meteorologist Tony Furr. Speaking of Todd Parrott, the camera was on him because our Mike Massaro is with him. Let's talk about Dale Jarrett now, who's not run as well tonight as we might have expected.
But Alan, the rain seemed to come at a real inopportune time for the 88 team. It seemed, Todd, that the car was really surging towards the front, appeared to be real good on those long runs. How much did this rain put a damper on your plans?
Well, you know, the car it was good the first pit stop, and you know, hadn't really been very good ever since. And think we're fighting the tire war tonight, and you know, just so happens we hit on something, and early in the race we were saving it for late. Saw the rain came coming, and figured we better start getting to work and start getting our best stuff up on the wall. Really hadn't done a whole lot to the car, but changed tires. It just, like I said, we've hit on something on the tires, and you know, the guys have had awesome pit stops, 14-second, 14.5-second pit stops all night long, and keep us getting that good track position. So we need the rain to go away right now. We got a really good race car, same car we had here in the Winston, and if we get the right set of tires on at the right time, you know, look what little Lee did last Saturday night. You know, he got 4 tires. We should have come and got 4, but hey, you never know what's going to happen. So I'm just proud of these guys. They've done a great job, got a great race car, and let's see what happens.
Todd Parrott crystallizing the thoughts of many teams down on this end of pit road. They want the rain to go away.
So the car's being covered up, the drivers will be climbing out, and we're going to go under the red flag for rain. In the Coca-Cola 600, 381 miles in with Jerry Nadeau holding on to the top spot.
Engines will fire, and you'll begin to roll them out. We still have a couple of jet dryers out here on the track in the main straightaway doing a little polishing job on the speedway before we get back and go green to complete this 41st running. $3 million is at stake. $1 million bonus for Burton if he can stay up there and take it away from Nadeau or whoever else comes to challenge in the final laps of this event. Red flag is still on the track, but not for much longer. There go the nets up in the cars. What a difference they have made in driver safety over the years. Here's Jeff Gordon getting ready. We're still waiting for that command to fire the engines and send them on their way. Now you can see them begin to roll. Indeed, they have fired them. And they're about to move out onto the track with Jerry Nadeau leading the way. The surprise, the dark horse in this race. And the question is, can he stay there and win for Rick Hendrick? There they are, rolling around this 1.5-mile track. Looking like diamonds out there. Let's take a look at what has happened so far. See if we can get you up to date on how it all began and how we have come to where we are. This is the start. Earnhardt Jr. on the point. Falling back was the 25, and then coming back, Nadeau, here he is, getting by Bill Elliott and taking second place. And here he is up the outside and around Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the lead. Lap 80, Steve Park loops it coming into the tri-oval area in the double dog leg. Brought out the first caution of the day. Lap 117, Earnhardt Sr. with those strange-looking colors on number 3 brings the crowd to its feet. Nadeau came right back, stacked them 3 high. He came through on the bottom, went back into first place. Lap 130, and Mike Bliss is out of control. Same area, turn 4, able to gather it up, but it brought another caution. Lap 136. Here is Earnhardt Sr. taking the lead from Jarrett. Lap 151, a little love tap here. Robert Presley sends Scott through it, right into the laundromat. And look at this. Father against son on the bottom of the racetrack. Dale Earnhardt and Dale Earnhardt Jr. alongside. And then Jerry Nadeau pulls up, scoots by once again. Shows the supremacy of that Hendrick car. Lap 193. Junior's back at it. Dale Earnhardt Jr. New names, new faces making the difference. Then at lap 248, there were pit stops. Bobby Labonte led for a while, stalled for a moment on pit road. And there's Dale Earnhardt Jr. getting out just in front of him. But Nadeau had stayed on the track, thinking the rain was going to come. They had been talking to him, and sure enough, the rains came. Red flag came out. It has been there for some time, and now we're back ready to go racing another time. With Nadeau in front, Jeff Burton in second, and to bring you more of the action, once again, here's Alan Bestwick.
Thank you, Ken. 51 minutes under the red flag because of the rain, but now the car's rolling again under the yellow. With Dick Berggren and Buddy Baker, I guess the question is, once they open pit road, and it is still closed because they're running the jet dryers down the pit lane to get all the moisture off there. Once they open the pit lane, we make the assumption Nadeau and Jeff Burton, who stayed out earlier, are going to have to come in for service.
Almost guaranteed that they're going to do that. The question after that point will be what's going to happen to Nadeau's car with the valve spring that's failed. Almost certainly he's lost enough horsepower. He's going to have a real tough time of it from here on.
Well, that is true, and they were hoping that the rains will keep on because the valve spring, he's not going to have the performance if that's the problem. But they also said they may be able to change the ignition inside the car, and that might be the problem instead of a valve spring. So, you know, Jerry Nadeau's going to lose tremendous amount of track position here, though. He'll have to go right to the back when he comes in.
Yeah, and they're just guessing what the problem is right now. When they do get back up to full RPM and they change the ignition box, if that doesn't fix it, then they'll know it's something internal inside the engine, and they'll have a good idea their chances for victory tonight are going to be very much dimmer.
Still, what a big night for Nadeau, who 10 years ago was racing go-karts of all things, went from that to dirt track modified to the Barber Saab Series, European Formula Opals. He's worked as a roofer to pay the bills, mowed lawns, even towed show cars so that he could afford to race. And here tonight, he has dominated the front end of the Coca-Cola 600.
Nadeau has led 5 times for 110 of the 257 laps that we've run tonight. Let's go to pit road and Mike Massaro.
Well, Alan, as you know, a big factor right now is track temperature. We measured the temperature of the racetrack at the green flag. It was 103 degrees. Right now, we've got the thermometer. We're going to take a reading. As we do, we can see it is now 89.4 degrees, so it has dropped significantly. And of course, this is a factor because it will change the characteristics of these race cars. Talking to some crew chiefs, they expect this racetrack to get real tight, real fast. And with that in mind, we expect to see a lot of changes on pit road on the next stop.
It'll be interesting to see how many of the cars that stopped just under the caution for rain the first time come back in again to make changes to their cars now. Pit road is open this time. Here comes Nadeau down. Is that Nadeau? No, Nadeau stayed on the racetrack. Nadeau and Burton both stayed out. Well, that's a shock to me. Well, that is an absolute shock to me.
What I think they're doing now, Alan, is riding around, and they're trying to get as far as they possibly can. If they run 5 or 6 more laps around here, that's gas mileage. So they're going to stay out there till the last moment and then come in because they're going to the rear anyhow.
Bobby Labonte's in. Matt Kenseth's in, Jeff Gordon's in, Dale Jarrett's in, Mark Martin's in, Jeremy Mayfield is in. These lead lap cars I'm calling off here.
Well, they've all had a chance to talk things over for quite a while. This is an opportunity to adjust the cars for a racetrack that has changed significantly.
Making either a wedge or a track bar adjustment on the Bobby Labonte car we saw in the pit stop there.
I think that was actually the wedge was being changed in the left rear of the car. So that's what they do. They sit down with the crew chief and they say, here's what we're doing. We maybe need to come on in and get things changed around. Bobby Labonte certainly is way back now, but hey, listen. A good race car will make up a lot of distance on a racetrack.
If you're new to NASCAR, wedge being the pressure of the jacking bolts on the springs, it affects the weight transfer of the car from corner to corner when it hits the banking. The track bar being what holds the rear end housing in place. You can raise or lower that to affect the handling on your car.
Pretty simple to understand. If you go down on the spring, it puts more tension on it. If you go up, it takes tension off the spring.
So Jerry Nadeau's going to stay out and hold on to the race lead. Jeff Burton will stay in second. It'll move Dale Earnhardt Jr. up to third. Well, here comes Burton giving up his spot on the racetrack to make his pit stop a lap later. Again, surprises me. Marty?
Well, Alan, the first time, to be honest, it was a miscommunication. Frank Stoddard threw his hands up in the air and wondered where Jeff Burton was, why he didn't come down pit road. Right now, the car's a little bit tight. But that was an hour ago. This is a very tough decision for these guys as to what they're going to do, and they're having all kinds of problems on the right rear. I think they're putting a rubber in the right rear, and also they think they might be able to make it on one more stop. So Jeff Burton maybe playing a little fuel strategy. Was supposed to come down pit road last time, but maybe this will help him in the end.
Not a huge problem. There's only 13 cars on the lead lap, and that's where Burton is going to come out. He'll be running right around number 13 spot when they take the green flag here, so not a big problem.
Robbie Gordon coming in, getting some attention paid to his car here under the caution flag. Gordon now aboard that machine. We told you that Rick Mast has stayed in the A.J. Foyt car. After suffering from some food poisoning, he's decided he's going to tough it out. Jeffrey Bodine still in the Power Team machine. The Joe Bessie operation. Tim Fedewa is in the John Andretti car. Made that driver change earlier. We talked about the Bobby Labonte car and the pit stop they made and the adjustments they made. Mike Hogwood has more on that for us.
You remember they made an adjustment when we were under caution for the rain. They made a track bar adjustment the wrong way. They figured it out during this rain delay, so they came down on pit road and made the adjustment the correct way.
Well, I just can't figure this out. Here comes Nadeau now at the 1-to-go signal.
And that's going to put him at the absolute tail end of all the cars that are on the lead lap. And why they hadn't decided to do this earlier is just an absolute mystery. It just doesn't seem to be a reasonable thing to do. But rolling the tire, that's a new rule this year. In fact, midway through the year, they have to get the tires away from the right side of the car, away from the right side of the pit box. If they don't do that, NASCAR will throw a penalty at them.
And they also did a wedge adjustment on the left rear when he was stopped there.
So Nadeau's going to come back out in 14th position for the restart. By the way, the Robbie Gordon car sitting on pit road is being held for 5 laps as a penalty for disobeying instructions given by a NASCAR official. So there's going to be a 5-lap penalty assessed there to Robbie Gordon, and you see the official standing in front of the car.
He might have stayed in Indianapolis.
This, huh?
Yeah, he might well have stayed in Indianapolis and had a soda and maybe a Burger King.
Don't know what the instruction was that they were given that they've disobeyed, but it's going to be a 5-lap penalty for that. We're coming to the green flag. Going to go back racing in lap 261. Dale Earnhardt Jr. now takes over the lead. Dale Earnhardt is second. Ricky Rudd is third. Rusty Wallace is fourth. And Mike Skinner is fifth.
And just on the inside, Tony Stewart a lap down right now. He's going to put the pressure on Earnhardt to try to get back in the lead lap.
Stewart, the 15th place car, as we come down for the restart. About an hour after it started raining, the Coca-Cola 600 is back underway.
So much for pressure. He didn't even come close to getting the jump on Earnhardt Jr. He just flew out there.
Father and son, first and second.
Second time that's happened tonight. Junior moving down low to block Tony Stewart from trying to get his lap back. Here comes Stewart, peeking the inside. Junior runs that thing awfully deep in turn 3. We've seen that trend this whole weekend. He really runs that car far into turn 3.
Yes, he does. He's very aggressive, and the car is up for the shore. He just drives her down there in the sticks, so why not?
Take a look at the Napa field summary now that we're back under green. Lets you know where everybody stands as we run down through it. Steve Park up to 6th. Remember the drivers that made the stop under this caution. Bobby Labonte there, Matt Kenseth. Those are the drivers that made the stop under the caution. They are from 7th position on down. We've got a total of 14 on the lead lap. Labonte and Kenseth here, double wide for 7th and 8th positions. That's Johnny Benson just in front of them. Benson running in 18th position a lap down. Let's go to pit road and Marty Snyder.
Well, the answer as to why Jerry Nadeau and why Jeff Burton and Matt Kenseth and those guys came down pit road and why Jerry and Jeff Burton waited so long, they think they can turn this into a race where they only have to stop one more time. Jeff Burton and Jerry Nadeau came down at lap 260. Now, if you add 70 laps to that, that's 330. 70 to that is the finish of the race. So these teams think they can make it on one more stop. That would be a huge advantage. I just asked Robbie Reiser, the crew chief from Matt Kenseth, can you definitely make it on one more stop? He said absolutely.
Boy, I tell you, that's a big deal. And right now, Tony Stewart's got a big deal going. He's back on the lead lap, just in front of our leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
He needs to stay in front of him and get a caution flag.
Wow. He's not going to make it.
Junior had the nose of his car right up under the back bumper of Tony Stewart's. And how that upsets a car, think of the nose of that racing machine almost like a snow plow, but instead of pushing snow, it's pushing air. There's literally a bubble of air in front of the front air dam of those cars. And when you stick the nose right up against the back bumper of the car in front of you, that bubble of air, your snow plowing, just literally pushes the back end of that car in front of you around and loosens it up. Jerry Nadeau trying to make up lost ground. 14th position is where he's fallen back to. He's not even up with the pack at this point. He's a little bit off, so that engine problem obviously is manifesting itself further.
But look who's in third spot. We just saw him in the corner of the shot. There he is now in the middle of your screen. Rusty Wallace. Now in second spot all of a sudden.
Rusty earlier in the race had not one but 2 penalties for speeding on pit road. Lost some track position at that point. He lost 10 positions at one spot from 6th back to 16th for one of the penalties. He's picking his way back through, and it appears the change in track conditions has suited his car well.
Yes, and several years back, Rusty Wallace even lost a cylinder and won the race here because he drove the car so very, very hard in the corner. And you can see it sticking right on the bottom of the racetrack. That car is hooked up right now, but you have to remember we're on new conditions here, a washed-down racetrack, and that probably made his car more competitive than before he stopped then.
Rusty finished second in both the 1997 and 1998 runnings of the 600, both times to Jeff Gordon, both times with different pit strategies.
And in 94, also second to Jeff Gordon. So that's 3 second places in the last 6 600s, all to the same guy.
97 race, Gordon and Wallace. One of them took 2 tires, one took 4. Gordon won the race. The 98 race was just the opposite. They did the opposite they'd done the year before, and the results came out the same. I know Rusty was particularly frustrated that night. He said, it doesn't matter. Last year, I did the different thing this year because I lost last year, and the results still came out the same. You see Wallace there. The lap car of Tony Stewart between himself and the leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Been a good night as far as time spent out front for Dale Jr.
It has, and he's really taken a more or a less aggressive line around the racetrack right now. He's not leaning on the tires like he was earlier in the race. He's running pretty much in the middle part of the track.
Here's a guy that's just not making any progress. Remember that just when we went to the caution for rain, we got the report that there was a miss in Jerry Nadeau's engine. They speculated it might be an ignition box. They were going to try and change to the backup system when we went back to full-speed racing. Then they also speculated it might have been a valve spring going bad. And I would say by the fact that Nadeau has fallen off the back of the pack that it is the valve spring. And he's in some pretty serious trouble here with his, 129 laps left to go in this race.
I would just bet you that Tony Urey's telling him right now, don't use the car up. You have a great race car. Don't get aggressive right now. You're in the lead. Nobody's catching you.
Of course, Tony Stewart in 1999 won 3 races as a rookie, the first Winston Cup rookie ever to do so. Dale Earnhardt Jr. could pull that feat off tonight if he scores the victory here.
Well, actually, he's won 3, but one of them wasn't a point race. So
yeah,
that doesn't really count.
It's an asterisk race.
It is, and the things that really matter are the point races.
Now we'll see if Rusty Wallace has the muscle to run down Dale Earnhardt Jr. He has a clear racetrack in between he and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And if he can close in now, that'll tell you he has a great race car.
I'll tell you what, he's got a lot of fans. They had a fan appreciation day at his shop yesterday, 4,000 people showed up. They had to go send the truck out for more hamburgers, and he brought them all back. Didn't have enough yet, sent them back out for still more.
Been talking about Jerry Nadeau and speculating that the engine problem is worsening. Mike Hogwood, how about it?
Indeed it is. I just talked to Tony Furr, and he had a dejected look on his face, and I looked up at him, and he just looked at me and said, valve spring.
Wow.
And he just told him to ride it out, but they're really down on horsepower right now.
Jerry Nadeau has led 115 of the 273 laps tonight. Doesn't look like this is going to be the night for Winston Cup win #1.
One of the real problems with valve springs is not just that the engine could get soft. That valve starts bouncing too deep into the cylinder, could bounce off a piston. That could be the end of the engine and the end of the night.
There's Robbie Gordon back on track after serving the 5-lap penalty. That penalty put him all the way back to 40th position, the last car running in the event. Scott Pruitt, Ricky Craven, and Bill Elliott, the 3 drivers that have fallen out of the event. And the leader, Dale Jr., by the Robbie Gordon machine.
Well, Tony Eury said this car was going to be faster as the race wore on. It's been an absolute rocket all night long. Can't imagine it getting any quicker.
There's Mike Skinner running in 4th spot, 3 seconds behind the leader. See his scoring serial on the night. Been very steady, very solidly up in the top 10, except for that one stretch where he got shuffled back.
And Mike Skinner has a gear in the car that they told me they put in there to run 600 miles. They didn't want to see the rain. They think they'll get stronger as the night goes.
Catching Dale Earnhardt, his teammate, to race for 3rd position. Skinner took just 2 tires on the set of pit stops back at lap 131 that got him up in the lead at that point for a couple of laps in the event.
Interesting stat on Mike Skinner is that every time he has run closed motor speedway and finished the race, he has done better than the last time he ran here. He was 3rd in October of last year, 9th in this race last year.
Looking from Dale Earnhardt Jr. back to Rusty Wallace to check the interval between the top 2. There it is. On the stopwatch, that is 1.333 seconds. Back underway in the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte. More on TBS in a moment. Back at Lowe's Motor Speedway, Charlotte. Live coverage of the Coca-Cola 600. 41st running for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. At this point, 282 laps are complete. That's just past 400 miles in this event. And you're looking at the race leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who has got 1.37 seconds on Rusty Wallace. A little farther back, side-by-side race for 11th and 12th positions. Jeff Gordon and Jeremy Mayfield here.
They've really been going at it, too, slugging it out.
Riding in Jeff Gordon's car here while we look at what the car's doing outside. And, Buddy, kind of school us a little bit on what's happening here as we watch his movements.
He's going down in the corner, down in turn 1 there on the outside. This is what we call hustling the car. Watch his arm speed here, trying to keep that car right on the ragged edge and make time on the car he's trying to pass there. He's fighting this race car. It is not driving just to suit him, but he's making up for it in just hard driving. Back and forth on the steering wheel. About right here, he'll really get the thawing on that baby.
Sounded like he had to stay out of the gas a little bit there.
He's not had much fun with that race car tonight. It just has not been the competitive race car that we expect to see Jeff Gordon drive here at Lowe's Motor Speedway.
Yeah, we were laughing, or I shouldn't say laughing, we were talking as Mayfield just blows by Jeremy.
Gone.
By Jeff, rather.
That looks like Jeff might have had a problem there in that corner with getting a little bit loose because he was outrunning the 12 there for a few laps. And you can see the car sliding up towards the outside wall now.
We were talking during the commercial among ourselves. How many times can you say Jeff Gordon's just not had a good car at Charlotte? Recent history. I don't even think he's been in the top 10 except for once earlier when he led for a lap on an exchange of green flag pit stops by staying on the racetrack longer than everybody else did.
Well, usually by now he's got that car dialed in, so he's really quick. Not tonight. Gordon running in 12th spot and losing ground.
There's the leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's added another 0.6 of a second on to his advantage over Rusty Wallace. It's 1.9 seconds now from first back to second, and Rusty has pulled away from Dale Earnhardt, the third-place car, by a huge margin. almost 3 seconds between second and third. Moving up and moving back, Mike Skinner up to 4th position. See, Kenny Irwin's gained a few spots. Rusty Wallace picking up 4 positions from lap 200 to lap 286, where we are now. Sliding back, Jerry Nadeau, the engine problem, dropping him to the last car on the lead lap. Tony Stewart has lost a handful of positions over the last little while. Now running 1 lap down in 15th position. Robert Presley with our Circuit City telemetry. We've watched Robert basically struggle with this car for much of the night.
And that's not a lead car right there, and it's turning 8,600 RPMs down the straightaways. That gives you an idea of what these guys are doing that are running maybe 2/10 quicker a lap.
See the sparks fly as the brakes wear.
Okay, this is the shock right here. You can see it going up and down. This is the coil spring, and this is the plate on the top. When you hear it say they put wedge into it, they run this down, and that puts more tension on the spring itself.
While we're watching that, Dale Earnhardt Jr. continues widening his advantage over Rusty Wallace. Look at the gap now.
Boy, what a run he has had from Texas on, huh? Winning Texas and then off to win again at Richmond, and then the pole here and win the Winston, and gee, he's going to remember these 2 days. And he's still got a yellow stripe on the back bumper.
Yeah, he's still a rookie.
Yeah, a rookie.
Yeah, he's a rookie, okay, but I'll tell you what, being brought up in a home with a person like Dale Earnhardt, it's like you're racing when you're 5 years old. Conversation around the table is not baseball, it's racing.
But he's got an enormous amount of talent, too. I mean, he came into NASCAR's Busch Grand National Series, and in his first year, he's Rookie of the Year, won the championship. 2 years, 2 championships, 13 wins. This guy has just got it all.
Meantime, Dad is running in 3rd position. There's Dale Earnhardt, the 7-time champ. He's 5 1/3 seconds behind his son, Dale Jr. Mike Massaro has an update on the Earnhardt car.
And Alan, we mentioned the gap between Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt, and one of the reasons may be the changing track conditions. Just spoke with crew chief Kevin Hamlin. He said the car is getting tighter and tighter every lap. Further down pit road, his teammate with Richard Childress Racing, Mike Skinner, spoke with team manager David Smith. He said the same thing. Expect them to try to free those cars up next time in.
Kenseth closing in on Skinner there to try and take 4th spot away from him.
That's kind of the book on this racetrack, though. If there's any one thing you can predict about this racetrack, and quite frankly, there's not a lot you can't predict about it, is that in this night race, as we get further into the event, the cars tend to tighten up.
You know, we heard Matt Kenseth say he really hated to see the rains come because he gets better as on long runs. Well, it's proving out right now. He's moving back up again.
Kenseth going after Skinner for 4th. Going to get that spot into turn number 3. So 2 rookies in the top 5 in the Coca-Cola 600 past 400 miles. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the leader. Matt Kenseth now up to 4th. The drivers in between them, Rusty Wallace in 2nd, Dale Earnhardt 3rd. Mike Skinner rounds out the top 5. We're coming right back. Tomorrow afternoon at 4 Eastern, catch the East-leading Atlanta Braves taking on the Chicago Cubs from Wrigley Field in Chicago. Catch all the Braves action on the Superstation, 4 Eastern time tomorrow. And during our coverage of the Coca-Cola 600, log on to tbssuperstation.com. Follow live in-car camera action. A lot of the front-running drivers in this event carrying our onboard cameras. Log on, tbssuperstation.com. Just about to hit the 450-mile mark of the 41st running of the Coca-Cola 600. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads Rusty Wallace by 2.308 seconds. Mike Hogwood with an update for us on Rusty Wallace.
Well, you would think that Rusty Wallace might be happy in running 2nd, but there are not a lot of happy looks in his pits. He's talking to the crew members and said, oh, we're awfully tight, just like everybody else is getting. And then they also said, and right now we have absolutely nothing for the 8th car.
Rusty having fallen back so far because of 2 speeding on pit road penalties earlier in the event, but he has recovered from those both quite nicely. Thank you very much. Upper left-hand corner of your screen, our full field summary showing you intervals from the leader back to the position that your favorite driver may or may not be running in, or may be running in. Jeff Gordon 15 seconds down. Steve Parks 16 seconds down. Now the car's a lap or more down. Jerry Nadeau has been overtaken by the leader, Dale Jr.
Yeah, I mean, that's a terrible thing. He's out there running basically on 7 cylinders and had such a great run up to just a little while ago. As a matter of fact, leading at the rain break. But you know who's really dropping back right now is Bobby Labonte. For some reason, he's just dropping right back out of sight. He was up to second there.
Of course, Bobby made the pit stop on the caution after we came back from the rain delay. Gave up some track position there, but you're right, buddy. He's not made the move back toward the front of the pack nearly as quickly as we thought. 8th position now, and Bobby is some 11 seconds behind leader Dale Earnhardt Jr. And there's Dale Jarrett. He's running in 10th spot now, 14 seconds behind the leader. Scoring serial on DJ, the NASCAR Winston Cup champion. Actually not scoring serial, but intervals from himself to the leader, and you can see he's been losing ground to Dale Jr. as well. Everybody's losing ground to Dale Jr. at this point.
And nobody can keep up with him. Nobody at all. Wallace is now 2.8 seconds behind. His dad is almost 5 seconds behind. Junior is setting an absolutely torrid pace here. But remember, this is a 600-mile race. And more than a few drivers can tell you stories about leading this thing at 500 miles and not winning it.
Pretty wide open view behind Dale there.
Okay, Alan, there's one thing right there. That's the most famous thing to have happen to you in your racing career. Look in the mirror and not see another car behind you.
Why?
Ah, that's a wonderful feeling.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, I imagine so.
Out there, flying, looking back, as they say.
Yeah, I imagine so. Dale Jr. talked last year in his debut here in the Coca-Cola 600 about having trouble keeping his concentration. He'd been running the NASCAR Busch Series, the 200 and 300-mile races. He came here, made his Winston Cup debut in the 600, and said the most difficult thing for him was keeping his concentration in the second half of the event. Now, this year, he's been running the Winston Cup circuit, obviously quite successfully, 500-mile, 500-lap races, but we still heard him express earlier tonight a concern about making sure he kept his focus and his concentration the whole 600 miles.
Well, it's a long time, a long race. That rain delay surely will have helped. Give a fellow an opportunity to sort of unload a little bit, calm down, relax, eat a sandwich if he wants, get back in and go do it again. So they've really got 2 races tonight. Battle for 3rd spot.
Matt Kenseth by Dale Earnhardt into the number 3 spot. So Kenseth, the other super rookie, continuing to charge forward.
And at the break, you heard Earnhardt Jr. say, I see Matt Kenseth on that scoreboard coming my way. Can't wait till he gets here so we can go back and race like we did in Busch Grand National.
R17 making his 17th career start in Winston Cup tonight.
Dave Blaney came down pit road a moment ago, smoke trailing from his car. It's gone behind the wall, and he's with Marty Snyder.
Well, what a tough day for Dave Blaney. Finally out. What happened?
Something broke in the engine. I don't know, broke a piston or something. But, man, Amco team was needing a good night. And we started off really bad loose, and got lapped real quick. And, you know, after that, they got it pretty good when it got dark and the track got cooled off. We could hang pretty good, but didn't get to finish it. But I learned a lot. Got to run with some good guys, and so we could have made it all night.
Dave Blaney and his Bill Davis Pontiac done for the evening.
Looking up here at the computer, the fastest car that last lap was Matt Kenseth. He is actually running faster than our lead car right now.
But as you can see, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s got a pretty comfortable pad right now. Look at where the rookies are running in this event. Both Blaney and Scott Pruitt out. 2 of them in the top 3. And Mike Bliss and Stacy Compton kind of struggling toward the tail end of the cars that are on the Speedway at this point. While we're watching Matt Kenseth, Marty Snyder has an update for us on the Kenseth machine from his pit.
Well, buddy, you hit it dead on the head. He is great on the long runs, and the car's working really good right now. And you got to remember one thing. Robbie Reiser said they can make it on one more stop. And for the last while, they've been on the fastest car on the track. Now there's caution on the track.
We have caution. Ken Schrader's into the wall in turn 2. Caution is on the Speedway.
The back of the car torn up really bad, and a lot of smoke over there.
Caution is on the Speedway. This yellow flag, number 5, make it number 6 in the event.
And there goes Earnhardt's big lead.
Yeah.
See him.
Erased.
Yep, gone.
Now, the caution flag here takes the making it on one more pit stop out of the equation, because if they pit at 3:10, there's nobody going to go 90 laps on a tank of fuel here.
Nope, can't do it. Going to have to make one more after this.
So that eliminates that from the formula.
Gee, is Junior going to ram the pace car just like that? He's awful close.
You think a rookie would be that bold?
That rookie might.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know. Well, it'll be very interesting to see what happens here on these pit stops. First, let's take a look at what happened to the Ken Schrader machine as you see the crew going to work trying to fix some of the damage as quickly as they can.
The 36 car of Kenny Schrader right there. As he starts off the corner, you can see him backing into the wall, coming off the corner there. Very lucky that everybody sees him. It's only one car involved. He gets it back straight and continues on.
And I'll bet if we had a chance to talk to Kenny right now, he'd say I was bad loose, and it just got away. Fine-tuning the aerodynamics on the machine. Sammy Johns with the hammer there.
And the bad part, that car was probably in the wind tunnel 2 weeks ago.
Leaders are in. Stops at lap 310 with 90 laps to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Rusty Wallace, and Matt Kenseth, the order as they come down pit road. Let's go to Mike Hogwood.
Well, Dale Earnhardt is in for his stop. It will be a 4-tire change, full tank of fuel. Jackman Jeff Clark has it up on the left side. The front tire changer is Tony Uri Jr. Randy Cox is on the rear tires. And they are getting them bolted on the left side. It's a great stop for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
But a great stop for Matt Kenseth. 15-9, and Kenseth is going to get the lead on the pit stops.
Oh, boy.
Look at Rusty Wallace's time. Trouble there for his crew, 20.3. He's going to come out at least 5th, maybe 6th.
Well, we're talking about how important the pit crews are. There it is right there. Kenseth with a 15.9 stop. Amazing for a crew that was put together just this year.
When you hear crew chiefs talk about track position being hard to get, it's very easy to lose. Kenseth just got good track position. Rusty Wallace just lost a bunch of it under caution pit stops. Next Sunday night on the Superstation, as a 60s hipster secret agent, Mike Meyer stars as Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. It's a world broadcast premiere next Sunday at 8 Eastern, only on the Superstation. The leader is Matt Kenseth. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is second. There is Dale Earnhardt, who runs in third. You see the pit stop summary. Look at Rusty Wallace in second and out ninth. Just a couple of extra seconds on pit road, dropping him those 7 positions. Mike Massaro has more on Dale Earnhardt.
And Alan, a huge break for Dale Earnhardt. About a half a lap before that caution came out, he had radioed in to crew chief Kevin Hamlin. He had a right rear tire going down. You can take a look here. We do have the tire. There's a cut inside the trim here about an inch long. This tire was going down rapidly, and Dale Earnhardt was going to have to come in if that caution didn't come out.
Wow.
Some days you just get lucky.
So we're getting set for the restart here. It'll come at lap number 313. 400 laps make up the 600-mile distance tonight. Rain shower earlier, stopping us under the red flag for some 51 minutes. But the weather has moved away as you look down from the Circuit City aerial platform. And we're getting set to go back at it one more time. Kenseth, Earnhardt Jr., Earnhardt, Bobby Labonte, and Jeremy Mayfield, the top 5. The rest of the top 10, Ricky Rudd, Jeff Burton, Mike Skinner, Rusty Wallace, and Dale Jarrett. And the final cars on the lead lap, that will be Jeff Gordon in 11th, Mark Martin in 12th, and Steve Park in 13th.
Tony Stewart on the bottom. We'll see if he can get back on the lead lap. Got a good run.
Earnhardt Jr. went very high there in the center part of the corner.
Stewart now back on the tail end of the lead lap. If he can get a caution flag before Matt Kenseth gets back by him, he'll come back around into the hunt for a good finish.
Here comes Earnhardt off turn 4 on the high side. Kenseth shut the door on him.
It's like old times last year in NASCAR's Busch Grand National Series when Earnhardt Jr. and Kenseth battled week after week for the championship and for race wins too.
For the race lead around the lap car of Tony Stewart. Here comes Dad to make it 3 wide if he can.
Yeah, Tony got caught up on the high side. He couldn't do anything about it. Look at Earnhardt Sr. fighting Jr. now.
And the sparks are flying.
see that dark spot the cars ran through in the middle of turns 3 and 4? There's a section of the lights that are out, not the outside lights, but the reflector lights down on the inside of the racetrack that bounce off the mirrors on the Musco lighting system. You see them on the inside here, around the inside of turns 1 and 2. There's a little section of them out right in the middle of 3 and 4, and it leaves just a little shadow on the lower side of the racetrack, but the upper lights are on. It's certainly very safe for the drivers to be going, but watch right here as they run through a dark spot. There it is. And here comes Junior to the outside for the race lead.
He's working hard. He's got the position now. He's coming back in down by the start-finish line.
Two young Turks going at it. Dale Jr. back out front. 84 laps to go.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has a very, very fast car on the get-go, but I think Kenseth's car is set up for a real long run, so we'll see if he has the car to keep up with Jr. later on in this run.
Kenseth back to second. Dale Earnhardt third. Here's Bobby Labonte beginning to roll once again. Labonte had been the leader a little while back. Lap number 298 went down pit road just after the restart from the red flag for rain. Lost a little track position there and never really made a move up through the traffic at that point, but now after this pit stop, he's really charging up into the lead group again.
Well, that's the great part about pit stops. You go in, you make an adjustment on your tires, change the air pressure a little bit, and you get the car back like you want it.
And for Kenny Schrader's fans, he's back out on the racetrack, having repaired that car as best they could after Schrader bounced it off the wall.
7 laps down in 34th position. That's where Schrader resides right now in the rundown. Mike Skinner racing Dale Jarrett. Skinner in the 31, Jarrett to his outside. Ricky Rudd also involved in this for position. Rudd is 7th. Jarrett and Skinner racing for 8th behind him. And Tony Stewart, the lap car, down to the inside. Jarrett kind of pinning Skinner in behind the Stewart machine. If this were a basketball game, that'd have been a good clean pick.
Well, Tony Stewart right now is doing everything he can just to hang on. That car is not working like he wants it to.
No, and they thought they really had it, too. They worked on that car, changed it a whole bunch yesterday afternoon during the Busch Grand National race here. They really thought they had it once happy hour ended. The car was just a little bit loose here, a little bit tight there. Felt just the way his car felt last year when he finished 4th in this same event. It was Stewart that gave out last year, but this year the car just isn't quite up to it. That car's up to it. Driver's up to it. The crew is doing a great job. They have it all together tonight.
Here's Bobby Labonte up to the outside of Dale Earnhardt. 3rd position.
Earnhardt fighting back, though, on the inside. He made him earn that spot, I'll guarantee you. He kept it wide open going down in the corner. You see him fighting back on the inside, trying to pick the power up as they come out of the corner and get side by side with Bobby, but no cigar.
Earnhardt's got a good car tonight. No gimmies there for sure. Look, he's going to try it again on the bottom.
Racing for 3rd and 4th position. Labonte, the Winston Cup championship leader, by Dale Earnhardt, pick up the spot. Looking ahead from Elliott Sadler's car at this race for a position. Elliott Sadler running in 21st position. Not a bad night after starting in 41st, but he's not on the lead lap at this point.
Yeah, the car is every bit as fast as these front runners right now, but hey, he's a lap down, and it's going to be tough to make up a lap on Dale Earnhardt Jr., believe me.
First 100 miles of this race, a lot of drivers went a lap down. Dale Earnhardt Jr. lapped all the way up to 31st before we even got to the first pit stops in the event. For Dale Earnhardt Jr., who made his Winston Cup debut in this race last year, he talked with us earlier about keeping his concentration for 600 miles.
You know, you're in that car for an awful long time, and you really got to think about what you're doing. And as the race winds down and the spots are more difficult to obtain, and you realize, all right, I'm 15th or 16th, odds are I'm not going to gain 1 or 2 spots. I got to protect my position. So it gets hard to concentrate and hard to focus on what you're doing.
So Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And that's when you're running 15th and 16th. When you're out front like he is right now, it's kind of like leading in a football game. in the last quarter. You don't want to make a mistake, so it makes you more aware of what you're doing.
But it seems like the race lasts forever under these circumstances. Leading, please let it in. Please let it in while I'm still out here before something goes wrong to spoil my night.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Did you see how close Kenseth came to the wall?
And the other thing you do, your hearing becomes very acute. You hear every noise in that race car when you have a big lead.
We're coming up on the 500-mile mark of this event. Very quickly, another 9 laps, and we will hit 500 miles. Ricky Rudd with some problems. Rudd, the 10th place car, slowing down. That is tough.
It is. He had a couple of good runs. He was fourth the last 2 races. Now today's in trouble. Mike Mazzaro.
Well, it appears that Ricky Rudd may have a tire beginning to equalize on the right side. You can see the crew now up on the wall waiting the arrival of the Texaco Havoline Ford of Ricky Rudd as he makes his way down pit road now. They're waiting to service that machine. 45 miles an hour, the pit road speed. He slowly makes his way down the pit road, and the team goes into action. They'll swing around to the right side and immediately go to work there. Again, the problem, an equalized right side tire, and that's where they'll go to work. They'll swing around to the left side, take advantage of this stop. A 4-tire change for Ricky Rudd at this point. 2 cans of 76 racing fuel, no chassis adjustment. He's now down and away.
Going to lose at least 1 lap to the leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. The better part of the second one as well before he gets off pit road and gets back up to speed. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the race leader, just approaching the 500-mile mark with that crucial extra 100 still to come from Lowe's Motor Speedway at Charlotte.
Rookie lap 334 as you look at the action from the Circuit City aerial platform. 501 miles complete into the final 100 of the 41st annual Coca-Cola 600. 167,000 seats sold out, infield packed, watching as Bobby Labonte is trying to replicate what he did in 1995, trying to close on Earnhardt Jr. at the present time. There's your current leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who shattered all the records in qualifying on this mile and a half. Out in front, the new dominator. Question is, can Labonte or his own dad or Matt Kenseth take it away from him in this final 100 miles? Race summary. Earnhardt Jr. leading once again, 22 lead changes. The caution flag has been flown 6 times for 34 laps. We've had 1 red condition because it rained for over an hour. We're back at it with an average speed of 140 miles per hour. And get this, of the 43 starters for this 600-mile race, 39 are still functioning, still going at it here on the high banks of Lowe's Motor Speedway. Let's get back with Alan Bestwick.
Ken, thank you. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has led 149 of the 336 laps so far. Field summary, upper left of your screen, showing where drivers started, where they're running now. Terrific night for Matt Kenseth. Well, terrific night for the 2 top rookies so far. Earnhardt Jr. and Kenseth in the top 3. Dale Earnhardt has had kind of a hot and cold night, running in 4th right now. Some sets of tires he's looked like a rocket ship on wheels, and some sets of tires he's struggled mightily with. Dale Jarrett, just kind of a so-so night so far for him. Steve Park recovered from an early spin at lap 81 to run in the top 10 now. Jeff Gordon, well, just hasn't been there all night for Jeff Gordon. Rusty Wallace has fallen back. He had some trouble on a pit stop a moment ago, went in second, came out 9th. And the final car on the lead lap at this point is Mark Martin in 12th place. All these cars now 1 lap down, including Ward Burton and Tony Stewart. Johnny Benson, 37th to 15th. Been a good night, but out of the headlines night for Benson, if you will. He's not been focused on much during this event because he's spent a lot of it a lap down, though running well among those cars. Rick Mast suffering from food poisoning. Took a couple of bags of IV during the rain delay that we had earlier in the event. Runs A.J. Foyt's car in 18th position. Jerry Nadeau led so much of this race. What a night for Nadeau. 115 laps he was out in front, but just as we got to the rain delay, the engine started skipping on his car. A valve spring problem suspected. Nadeau being overtaken by the leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. for a second time. He's back in 20th position. Looking at the rest of the field summary, Jeffrey Bodine has run the whole distance so far in his Chevrolet, 27th position for Jeffrey. John Andretti back in 33rd spot. The car Andretti started anyway. Tim Fedewa now behind the wheel of that machine after making the driver change earlier. Andretti with the broken rib. And the drivers out of the event include Dave Blaney, Scott Pruitt, Ricky Craven, and Bill Elliott. Ken Schrader's car has also just gone behind the wall after damage from the crash he was involved in at lap number 310. Story right now, solid lead for Dale Jr. 2.7 seconds over Bobby Labonte.
You know, I was just watching him as we were getting that rundown from you through traffic. He is so, I mean, he's driving it in there like he's trying to catch somebody. He's leaning on that car pretty hard right now. I'm sure they're probably trying to slow him down, but I think he's being a little bit careless in traffic.
But, buddy, you've driven these 600-mile races before. You've won 3 of them. We hear drivers talk about rhythm a lot. When you were in a rhythm in those races and you were running well and you were pulling away from the field, did you want to listen to your crew chief, Harry Hyde, or whoever, saying, slow down?
I'd usually say, I can't hear you.
Yeah.
No, you know, you have a great car, and you bring up a great point. It's like playing the violin. Once you get a good rhythm and the song in your mind, then you play it well. If you start backing off, it changes the characteristics of the race car even.
He's in the zone right now. Tony Uri in the upper right-hand corner of your screen is crew chief watching young Dale Earnhardt Jr., this phenomenal 25-year-old, third-generation driver, lead here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. What a night they're having.
Around the outside of Tim Fedewa in the John Andretti car.
Tony Uri sitting up there looking at his wristwatch. Yes, it is getting late. Now he's checking the time, too, as he goes around here.
How long before I get a chance to have a beer?
Now, we're inside the final 100 miles. This is the point where the driver's mental and physical toll begins to take effect. Mechanical toll can begin to take effect. We'll talk more about that after we check in the garage on the latest retiree from this race. Marty?
Well, Kenny Schrader had such high hopes coming into the day. And Kenny, first tell us what happened in the wreck.
First time we wound up, we kind of got wrecked. You know, everybody checked up. This time I just plain old screwed up. And we were loose. I was driving it too. I mean, just fun to think.
We're in the last 100 miles. Is this where the fatigue factor for those guys out there really sets in?
Nah, them guys are pumped up. Got to worry about them engines and valve springs sometimes, but them boys ain't going to lay down on them.
There you go, Kenny Schrader in because they're trying to fix the rear end of the car. He said the spoiler was just laying down too much. He couldn't hold it out on the racetrack, so he's getting ready, in fact, to go back out on the racetrack as we speak.
Interesting analysis. What he has just said is that the men are stronger than the machines.
With the way today's drivers are conditioning themselves and so on, nutrition and fluids and training and so on, I think that's probably true.
Listening to the right music in the case of our leader.
Yeah. But back to what you're talking about, most of the race shops have a gym inside. They build it in just like they build the dynos for the race shop to build motors for these cars. They know that team's just as important. The driver's got to do his job, but it's a team effort. You don't win by just having a strong driver.
You see the huge interval from Dale Earnhardt Jr. back to Bobby Labonte, the second-place car, but Bobby may get a little chance to catch up some here because Junior's hung in some pretty heavy lap traffic. An update on Bobby Labonte from pit road.
Alan, the changes they made in the last pit stop have really helped Bobby Labonte. They made a wedge adjustment, an air pressure adjustment, and right now they have been discussing what to do on this last stop. They had originally thought they would go fuel only with about 15 laps to go, but Bobby just radioed in to Jimmy Maycar that the car is loosening up on him. They've decided to go for tires, probably around 20 laps to go in the race.
Patience, young man, and patience.
I'm telling you, he's not leaving much on the table. He's driving the heck out of that race car.
And they gave him a clear high a little while ago. They really wanted him to go on the outside of that 77, but Junior just decided, no way, I want to get on the outside of that 77 car the way he's been loose all night. Just waited his time a little bit, down on the bottom. Look at him go. Whoa.
Dr. No.
Yep.
Up next on TBS. James Bond movie, I know them all.
Yes, you do.
Almost dialogue from them. That's scary.
That's James Bond right there.
Joining us now. Yeah, there you go. Joining us now, looking for the movie. The reason we're not done with the race yet is because we had a 51-minute delay for rain in the middle of the event. Let's dip a little bit farther back away from the lead as Jeremy Mayfield races Dale Jarrett for the 5th position. Napa Field summary, upper left of your screen. While Mayfield and Jarrett go at it here for a top 5 spot. There's Jeff Burton right behind them. He's running in 7th. Trying to scratch and claw his way up toward the front. Riding with Ward Burton here as we look ahead at the race for 5th position.
Ward got behind very early in the race because of the hard pace that Dale Earnhardt Jr. set. Ran pretty well since then, but hey, he's already 2 laps down.
Ward came into the event only 3 points behind Bobby Labonte in the race for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. Here's DJ down low. He'll make the pass on Mayfield. 5th spot now to Dale Jarrett.
Car definitely set up for long, long runs. They said that at the break there when the weather was so bad.
Jerry Nadeau bailing out of the high lane to give the lead lap cars room to run by him.
They're also talking about tires, and Goodyear did bring a new tire here tonight. One of the interesting observations out of that 88 team, Brad Parrott, who's responsible for the tires, said that the new Goodyear is so good, it was sticking the front so well, it was actually tossing the back end of the car out a little bit. They have gone to a very different setup than they have ever run here before.
Talked with Dale Jarrett a little bit earlier in the weekend about running the extra 100 miles here at Charlotte. He says communication between a driver and his crew chief is one of the key factors in the race.
Mentally and physically it comes into play. You know that extra 100 miles does a lot of things. It does things to the car, so you have to take care of the car, so that works on you mentally. Certainly physically, sitting in there another 30 minutes is difficult. That becomes the tiresome time, but I think that's why a lot of us work hard physically to get in condition so that we can be in good shape when it comes down to the end.
Dale went on to say that trying to make the right adjustments and keeping that communication open back and forth to the crew to make sure the car is the most that it can be at the end of the race is important. Well, Rick Mast tonight will come up shy of the finish. The beginning of mechanical toll past 500 miles.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. He took her right straight behind the wall, too. He knows it's pretty much over with.
You see the smoke coming out of the pipes like that, and it's history. It's done.
He was running in 19th position at the time. And Rick Mast in the A.J. Foyt car will come up shy of completing tonight's Coca-Cola 600. The interval between Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Bobby Labonte is somewhat stabilized at about 4.2 seconds. Matt Kenseth a little ways off of Labonte's back bumper, another 3 seconds, a little under 3 in 3rd. Then Dale Earnhardt closing on Kenseth to race for that position. That'll be 3rd and 4th when he gets there. And then it's another 3 seconds from Earnhardt back to Dale Jarrett in 5th, Jeremy Mayfield in 6th, Jeff Burton in 7th. The rest of the top 10 drivers at this point are Steve Park, Mike Skinner, and Rusty Wallace. And the final 2 on the lead lap are Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin looking at moving up. Jeremy Mayfield's picked up 8 positions since lap number 250. Sterling Marlin also 8 positions up. Jeffrey Bodine picking him off a little bit at a time, deeper in the field. Sliding back, well, Jerry Nadeau with the engine problem we talked about. Ricky Rudd, after the equalized tire pit stop under the green flag earlier, has slipped back to 17th. And Rick Mast is going to drop a lot farther than that 26th now that the engine is apparently let go on that machine, and he's gone into the garage.
We're moving up, moving back. Give a call to Jeffrey Bodine. He has gone 500 miles in a Winston Cup stock car race. Quite an accomplishment that none of us thought was going to be possible for those of us who stood there and watched him at Daytona go end over end over end in that truck.
There's Bodine just in front of the leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jeffrey running in 26th position now.
Tough, gritty guy. He is in that car for the rest of the year. There were some stories floating around about how he probably lost his ride and maybe things weren't working out, but he has been assured me this morning. He said, I've got this ride for the remainder of year 2000.
Bodine just going 3 laps down to the race leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. We don't often see in NASCAR Winston Cup races the top 10 get really spread out, but everybody's kind of spaced apart a little bit here at this late juncture of the race.
They are very spread out, and you know the other thing that I've noticed, Wonder what story they'll put out this week that Dale Earnhardt Jr. had that everybody else didn't have. When a guy comes along with this much talent, first thing you hear, they let him do this. He had that. He is this. I heard a story about the tires that he won the Winston on, and they said, yeah, he did have some trick tires. They were Jeremy Mayfield. We borrowed him, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty hard to get any sort of an unfair advantage here. Even the tires, they've got NASCAR officials right in the Goodyear building, and you don't even get to walk in and say, gee, I'd like this set as opposed to that set. NASCAR's goal, level the playing field, keep the cars as equal as possible, but the drivers and crews decided amongst themselves. And so far tonight, this driver and his crew have proven themselves to be by far the best.
Caught a glimpse of Robbie Gordon earlier. There's Robbie out on the racetrack. He spent the day in Indianapolis running the 500, finished 6th in that one, got on the airplanes and the helicopters and all the rest, came here to Charlotte, was not here for the start of the race. P.J. Jones wheeled this car, but it rolled off the grid. During the rain delay at 381 miles, Robbie got in the machine, was promptly penalized 5 laps for not obeying a NASCAR official, and is running in 37th position. Caution! Caution, Jerry Nadeau.
Well, the valve
has finally let go.
Yep, there it is.
And this takes the splash and dash pit stops out of the equation. We're going to see everybody come onto pit road here for tires in their final fuel stop.
And a bad break for Ricky Rudd, who had to make that unscheduled stop. Everybody else gets to stop under caution now.
Jerry Nadeau led 115 laps. He was the dominant driver for, say, miles 100 to 300 in this event.
But you know what? He got the thing he needs the most, the confidence that I can race with these guys now.
He's going to make the left-hand turn here, though, into the garage, and become the 6th driver to not be running at the finish of this race.
Well, as the race wears on, we're probably going to see more of this.
Caution number 7 in the Coca-Cola 600. This one for oil on the racetrack on the back straightaway from Jerry Nadeau's car. And now the pit crews are going to go head-to-head for that all-important track position on what will be, should be, barring another caution, the final pit stops in this event. We saw Rusty Wallace's team come in 2nd, come out 9th on a pit stop earlier. We saw Matt Kenseth's team beat Dale Jr.'s out of the pit just a little while ago. Now the pressure's on.
It is that, and the adrenaline's flowing. You can see them making decisions. What do we do? Look at these guys. They're ready to fly.
I don't expect we'll see anyone take 2 tires here.
I'd be surprised. I can tell you, Junior said he wants his race car to be just the way it is. No surprise.
Here comes the field to the opening of pit road. Pit lane is open, and they will come down and make their stops with 38 laps to go. Dale Jr., Bobby Labonte, Matt Kenseth, Dale Sr., and Dale Jarrett, the top 5 order as they come in. You look at the top 3 in the triple box and watch the work of their crews. Kenseth's team pulled off a 15 and change stop on the last pit stop to get in the race lead.
Not one car making any adjustments to the chassis.
Kenseth's away, Labonte's away. Earnhardt Jr., is he going to hold on to the lead? No, he's not. And I believe that's going to be Jeff Gordon who's going to go off pit road first.
Wow.
Gordon's out first. Did he get 2 tires? He must have.
He must have had that. Well, that's the only shot he has. He hadn't been a factor all night, so that's his shot. Maybe he can make it work.
And went to the pits in 8th spot, came out in 1st.
Robbie Loomis, Brian Weitzel, crew chief and team manager. Atop the pit box, that's Loomis there. Making the call there. We'll follow up on the Gordon story in a moment. First, let's hear from the man who was dominant earlier, but now finds himself out of the race. Jerry Nadeau with Marty Snyder.
Well, he clearly had the best car, and you knew at the rain delay the valve spring was going. How agonizing was it to try and ride it out?
Not much you can do. I mean, we probably had the best car here for sure. I mean, just one of those deals. Got to thank MichaelHolligan.com, Hendricks, everybody. Everybody on pit road did an awesome job all day. Get him at Dover.
There's Jerry Nadeau, and we said before the race they had to win it. They had to not beat themselves, and they had an engine problem been plaguing them all year long. Jerry Nadeau with the best car done this evening.
Jeff Gordon the very quick pit stop a moment ago that got him the lead. Mike Hogwood, did they get 2 tires?
Indeed they did, Alan. Just talking to Robbie Loomis, he said, hey, I hadn't had anything work that I've played all night long. It's the only thing I had left. And he told him, let's take 2 tires and see what we can do. But he put his driver out front. Now the question is, can he stay there?
I'm trying to get straight in my mind which one it was. It was either 97 or 98 that Gordon took 2, Rusty Wallace took 4. Gordon held off Wallace for the win. Then the next year, Wallace took 2 and Gordon took 4, and Gordon went by him for the win.
The big difference, he had the dominant car that night, so the 2 tires, really, he had the car to beat. Right now, I think he made a mistake there because he's going to drop back, I feel.
Sit and duck? Yeah, think so?
Yeah, 94 was the 2-tire deal because at that time, I was doing pit road, and I remember standing at the gas pumps with Rusty Wallace, and Rusty just looked up there at Gordon and said, how did he win that thing taking just 2?
Now, let's not forget to point out that Bobby Labonte got off pit road ahead of Dale Jr., and Matt Kenseth did as well. Bobby is second. Kenseth is third. Earnhardt is fourth. That's senior Earnhardt. Jarrett is fifth. And Earnhardt Jr., probably his worst pit stop of the night, comes out in 6th position.
Wow. That's big.
Unbelievable. So Earnhardt Jr. losing a lot of track position here at this point. Jeff Gordon being the beneficiary of a strategy call by his team, taking over the top spot. It was back a couple of years ago here at Charlotte, 1998. We talked about Jeff Gordon getting the 2 tires. Rusty Wallace took 4. There's the stop. And here he went by the guys with 4 tires, passing him for the win. Rusty Wallace incredulous after the race, as Dick was talking about, but it was Jeff Gordon going to the winner's circle for a 2nd straight year and a 3rd time overall in the Coca-Cola 600 in 1998. Our panel assembled here does not believe the 2 tires will work this time.
I'm going to tell you, he's got a lot of problems right on his back bumper there. Bobby Labonte is going to pose a problem not only for Jeff Gordon, but he's going to be tough to get by even for a car like Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s had all evening.
So Dale Jr. is going to restart in 6th position.
Wow, look at all this shuffling around.
That's kind of bad right there. The cars on the lead lap are on the outside there, and you can see a 3 wide there. Everybody's trying to get in line.
Jeff Gordon was 11th before the pit stops. So he gains himself 10 positions with the 2-tire call. Question is it enough? Bobby Labonte, Matt Kenseth, Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jarrett, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. lined up behind him now. It's going to be a while to keep an eye on Jr. Watch him try to pick his way back through the field. Green flag, 35 laps to go in the Coca-Cola 600.
These lap cars are going to be very tough. You can see right now, Wardler fighting back, trying to get back a lap that he's down.
13th position for Ward now. First car 1 lap down, and indeed he's now on the tail end of the lead lap if he can stay in front of Gordon and get a caution. Here's Bobby Labonte outside of Gordon for the race lead.
Boy, it's just a matter, I mean, that had to happen.
But on the first lap, wow.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse because the new tires really will work so much better. You'll see it happen right here as they go down that corner. Watch Bobby Labonte come off the corner and just keep stretching.
Back with Dale Jr. in 6th position. Not only was he 6th on the restart, but he was actually 12th in line because of all the cars a lap or more down to his inside. So he's got the 5 in front of him on the lead lap to pass, and the other 5 in front of him that are a lap down.
Yeah, and he's got that right leg to the firewall right now trying to get back up there again.
Earnhardt the 2nd. Pressured heavily there by Matt Kenseth. Up the racetrack a bunch.
Yeah.
Here comes Dale Jarrett.
Well, it's not that bad on fresh tires. We watched him a while ago run along there for quite a while, but Bobby Labonte knows he better get what he's going to get right now because that 8 car, if he gets back up there, it's going to make life a little nothing.
Dale Earnhardt closing on the back bumper of Bobby Labonte.
Junior's crew has just radioed to him and told him to take care of that right front tire. A lot of interest here on Junior's part and stepping on the gas as hard as he can go to get to the front.
Dale Jr. trying to get fifth spot away from Jeff Gordon. Up front, Bobby Labonte's going to dispense with the lap car of Ward Burton while we ride with Dale Jr. and Jeff Gordon going at it here for fifth spot.
Junior's got to watch it running under those cars going in the corner like that. It makes the back very, very loose.
Here comes Matt Kenseth. He's around Dale Earnhardt for second spot. He clears the lap car of Ward Burton.
Amid a pile of sparks as the car bounces off the racetrack.
The outside of the Ken Schrader car back on the Speedway after time behind the wall.
Matt Kenseth told me, he said, I'll let you down because I was bragging on him how well he ran in California, and he said, I'll let you down. You kind of told me I was going to do well at Charlotte, and I thought he was kidding because he really hadn't run that well, but hey, he's living up to what he told me. He is flying around this racetrack.
Labonte wide in 3. Kenseth's got the wheels right down on the line. His car really closing quickly on Bobby Labonte's.
30 to go.
Wouldn't it be something after Dale Jr. has led all the laps tonight for the other rookie to slide in there and steal the win?
Well, they're both very, very talented race car drivers, and they both have great equipment. That's a Jack Ross motor right there. Bobby Labonte leading the race right now, but Matt Kenseth is really, really getting in the corner quick.
Bobby Labonte's got a million reasons to win this race. He is part of that No Bull 5 program. He gets $1 million bonus if he wins tonight.
Bobby, one of the 5 drivers eligible. Kenseth peeking inside. Just letting Labonte know that he's there. With a little bit quicker race car, it appears. Dale Earnhardt Jr., meantime, back in 5th position, looking ahead at Dale Jarrett in 4th. He's got some ground to make up to catch Jarrett.
You know, that car don't look like it's turning right. As he comes out of the corner, he's running way up against the wall, like it's not really turning like it was earlier.
Here comes Kenseth once again, looking for the lead on Bobby Labonte. Not yet.
Well, they're stretching their lead right now. There's no point in using these tires up. He can ride along there and make a real serious charge later on.
Dale Earnhardt in 3rd position right now. DJ in 4th.
But if you're Matt Kenseth, buddy, and your car's better than Labonte's now, you want the lead now, don't you?
There's your answer. He's looking to the inside, down the front straightaway.
Double wide, race lead. Turn number 1. Kenseth out in front. Matt Kenseth takes the lead from Bobby Labonte with 26 laps to go.
You know, things are happening this year that I've never seen before. Have a rookie crop like we have, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth, all these guys are so very, very talented with basically new race teams for Winston Cup, and they're just doing everything right.
Matt Kenseth led earlier in the event from laps 311 to 316 when his crew got him the lead off pit road. Led for 6 laps. Then he was overtaken by Dale Earnhardt Jr. At that point.
Yeah, and the radio transmissions have changed to Earnhardt. They're no longer saying protect the right front tire. They're now saying keep digging.
And he is doing just that by the computer. That last lap, he was 2 laps faster than the leader. 2 miles faster.
Bobby Labonte has finished 2nd the last couple of times here at Charlotte. He's 2nd to Matt Kenseth now in the closing laps of the Coca-Cola 600. Stay with us for an exciting finish on TBS.
The Coca-Cola 600 on the Superstation, brought to you by UAW GM. Assembly line to finish line, teamwork wins. By the motor oil that provides maximum protection, Castrol GTX, drive hard. By Desenex, soothes while it cures for comfortable feet. By Wendy's Classic Hamburgers, it's hamburger bliss. And by WrenchHead.com, parts online all the time. Are you a wrench head?
Back for the final laps of the 41st Coca-Cola 600. Lowe's Motor Speedway, Charlotte, North Carolina. 19 to go. You're looking ahead from 2nd place runner Bobby Labonte to the race leader Matt Kenseth. The 27-year-old from Wisconsin in his rookie season on the Nascar Winston Cup circuit, trying to score his first win in what is one of the sport's prestige races.
And not only that, just a couple of years back, Mark Martin said, I want this guy on the Rouse racing team. He has the temperament and everything about him to be a great winner. Mark Martin is a very unselfish person to give these guys all kind of breaks.
Looking at Mark now. Yeah, Kenseth is paying him back right now because this is what Mark wanted to see happen. This young man get an opportunity to show his stuff, and wow, he is doing a great job tonight, out in the lead with less than 30 laps to go.
If Matt Kenseth is able to hold off Bobby Labonte and everyone else for the final 17 laps, he would not be the only driver to make his first win in this Coca-Cola 600, but he would join some very prestigious company. David Pearson, Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte, all getting their first Winston Cup win in the season's longest race.
I keep watching Bobby Labonte in second place. He's been all over this racetrack trying to find somewhere that he has that advantage to catch Kenseth, and he's not out of this by a long shot.
Bobby Labonte is not very good at finishing in second spot. Remember, he finished second in this race last year, second here in October last year. He is running second right now, and he is closing on Kenseth.
Labonte's been hunting that groove Buddy was talking about a minute ago, trying to find a better place for his car to run with his handling set up now. He closed back in on Kenseth, tried the wide line there in 3, and it looked like he lost the car length. Oh, so close to the wall.
They are both using up every inch of this racetrack.
Matt Kenseth is so cool and so calm a person. Yeah. He's fairly quiet until he gets to know you, but he's got a great personality. He's a lot of fun to talk to once he gets to know you and loosens up a little bit, but his coolness and his calmness now, he'll need every bit of it with an established veteran like Bobby Labonte putting the pressure on him in the throes of trying to get his first win.
And the other thing that Bobby Labonte's trying right now is to move around behind him back there and get him to looking in the mirror and maybe get him off his line right on the bottom part of the racetrack by trying to see where he's at.
As Dick said earlier, Bobby Labonte has a million reasons to try and pass Matt Kenseth for the win. These are the 5 drivers eligible for the Noble $5 million bonus if they can win the race tonight. Matt Kenseth not among them. You see where the drivers who are eligible for the bonus are running. Bill Elliott out at lap 122 with an engine failure.
Earnhardt Jr., who had led so much of this race, is falling back in 5th spot. Not gaining ground, going the wrong way.
There's the interval from Dale Jr. to 4th place. Dale Jarrett. So you know that no rookie has ever won this race. Ever. One of them was the dominant driver tonight, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Another one might pull off the victory.
Boy, would that be something, huh? Robbie Reiser's from right up there. I mean, their race shop is up right next to Denver.
Oh, boy.
Denver. Look at this. Trading paint almost coming off turn 4.
Racing for 4th position, Dale Jr. just about getting into the side of Dale Jarrett, but he will take the spot from him down in turn 1. 12 laps to go. And the interval between 1st and 2nd getting just ever so slightly wider as you see Kenseth putting a little bit of a gap back on Bobby Labonte. Bobby's fallen off.
Bobby Labonte made a run. I think he used everything he had there trying to find a way to catch him, and Matt Kenseth just very cool in traffic, not really being that aggressive, just catching them, passing them at the right place. See down the back straightaway, that's the place to pass.
The story of Robbie Reiser, Matt Kenseth's crew chief, and how Matt came to drive this car is a great one. Robbie Reiser came to the South, if you will, to the NASCAR Busch Series from Wisconsin as a driver himself, a team he and his dad John formed. Robbie was injured in a racing crash, suffered a head injury, and decided that maybe his days in the sport were best served not behind the wheel. Brought Matt Kenseth down, actually brought another driver down to drive his car. Things didn't work out there, brought Matt Kenseth down, put him behind the wheel of the machine because he'd raced against Matt and knew that Matt was a talent, looking for a place to blossom. And in a combination was magic from that point on. 10 laps to go in the race. Let's check on pit road for some final stories. First, in the leader's pit.
Well, Robbie Reiser, the crew chief for Matt Kenseth, took a page from Jeff Burton's team's book to make that call on the last stop. Last year in this race, Frank Stoddard aired Jeff Burton's tires all the way up. And normally these cars start on low air pressure, and it takes a while for the tires to build up. But what they did last year was they aired them all the way up, so Jeff Burton's car would be very fast from the very beginning. That's the same thing Robbie Reiser did with Matt Kenseth's cars. He put the air pressures almost at their maximum level, so Matt Kenseth's car would take off from the very beginning, and it seems to be paying off for him. And remember, their car was better the longer it ran. Let's go to Mike Hogwood.
We're in Bobby Labonte's pit, and Bobby Labonte has not said one word since that last pit stop. All Jimmy Makar, the crew chief, has done is just call out lap time. That's the way Bobby Labonte is. Cool, calm, and collected in the cockpit of that race car. He knows what he has to do. He's totally focused on it now. He's looking at the black and gold 17 car, trying to catch it with every ounce of energy he has. So Mike Massaro.
Well, guys, just moments ago, I walked over to crew chief Kevin Hamlin for the 3 car and asked him a simple question. Do you have anything for the leaders? He just bit his lip, shook his head, and said, I don't think so. The car's just too tight. So the 3 car right now just trying to maintain a position in the top 3.
Laps winding down as Matt Kenseth tries to keep it between the walls, keep Dale Earnhardt and Bobby Labonte and the other runners behind him. Pull off his first NASCAR Winston Cup win. There's Robbie Reiser, the crew chief. There's the owner.
Jack Roush, cap in the hat.
And there's the driver in his car, trying to make a dream come true. Coming to the 5 to go signal. Buddy, what's he thinking? What's he feeling? What's he hearing as he tries to run out these final 5 laps?
Well, he definitely has a great rhythm going, but right now he knows he has the race won if he does not make a mistake. That makes him drive that much better because he's really, really concentrating. But he has problems back there. Bobby Labonte is really turned it up again. I think he dropped back a couple of laps, cool the tires, whether he'll catch him or not, but he is gaining.
Well, the old saying, catching him's one thing, passing him's another.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic in front of Kenseth as well. You can see it in that shot. To play a role.
It certainly can. All you have to do is back off for a lap traffic one time, and then Bobby Labonte would be right on top of it.
Brett Bodine will be the first of the lap cars the leaders come up on. He bails out. Mike Bliss bails out of the running groove. Mark Martin bails out of the running groove.
Look at these guys. They're just moving right over to let him have at it.
That is perfect. That is wonderful. That's good sportsmanship.
Do you know what else that is? That's respect.
Yes, it is.
That's respect for the skills of young Matt Kenseth. Young in terms of his time spent on the Winston Cup Tour. For the veterans like that to get out of your way, that is respect. Ahead from Mark Martin's car. Mark just going a lap down in 12th position. And Matt Kenseth has gone by him. Now coming up on the back of the John Andretti car that Tim Fedewa is now driving. That car back in 31st position.
And if you look at the 17, not a mark on it all day long. He's been very conservative, hadn't really abused the car. When it comes time, he turned it on.
Well, that's Kenseth's style. He's a very, very smooth driver, clean driver, aggressive when he needs to be. Gets just what he can out of the car and no more.
We said at the top of our broadcast some 5 hours ago, one of the things that's made this 2000 NASCAR Winston Cup season so much fun is parity and unpredictability. 10 winners in 11 races. You never know who's going to turn up in victory lane. We might add another new winner tonight as Matt Kenseth takes the white flag. The final lap of the Coca-Cola 600 in search of his first Winston Cup win.
Smooth right down to the bottom of the racetrack, exactly where he ran the lap before. Bobby Labonte is making a run at him, though, on this last lap. All Matt has to do now, though, is not make a mistake.
Final set of corners. Here he comes. Winston Cup win, #1 in the Coca-Cola 600 for Wisconsin's Matt Kenseth.
And what a race to have your first win at.
We talked about on the final pit stops, track position being so important. Matt Kenseth's team got him track position. Got him up there just behind Bobby Labonte's. They both quickly passed Jeff Gordon, who got 2 tires. Then Kenseth dispensed with Labonte. led the rest of the way to score the victory, his first in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. How about this? 2 straight wins by rookie drivers in the Winston Cup season. Dale Earnhardt Jr. a couple of weeks ago at Richmond, Matt Kenseth tonight.
And that says something about the future of this series. They've got some incredibly talented young men.
Well, that just proves one thing. The future in NASCAR is bright. This is the future. These guys. Look at this spin around here. Whoa!
Nice.
I see.
Right through the lettering.
Now, that's the best burnout I've ever watched. He didn't use the pavement. He's out in Humpy's grass out there going round and round.
That grass is wet from the rain we had earlier tonight. If he gets stuck, he's sure going to be embarrassed.
He's still spinning him around.
You think it doesn't feel good to win a Winston Cup race?
Oh, hey, that first one is something special. Take my word for it.
In his 18th race, Matt Kenseth goes to victory lane. He led the last 26 laps. Kenseth from Wisconsin also offering the salute to one of his home state heroes, the late Alan Kulwicki, with the old Polish victory lap, the reverse circle around the Speedway, and this crowd of 175,000 giving him a salute as well, and well-deserved. What a great night. Terrific race, first-time winner. It's been a great night here in Charlotte. We'll come back to talk to our winner next.
The Coca-Cola 600 on the Superstation, brought to you by Team Monte Carlo, the cars more champions depend on. Chevy, we'll be there.
Matt Kenseth moments ago taking the checkered flag in the Coca-Cola 600 to score his first NASCAR Winston Cup win, an image that'll be etched in his mind for the rest of his life.
Yeah, you might win 100 races, but that first one, you can never duplicate that feeling.
He really tore it up, didn't he?
All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
you see all the flash bulbs going off? I mean, folks know that they saw history made tonight.
Sliding through the grass, doing the victory donuts. Went around the racetrack for a victory lap backwards. Now he's coming back around for a victory lap in the proper race direction, and he'll be rolling into the winner's circle set up at the start-finish line momentarily. Well, I'll tell you what, the 175,000 here tonight saw an absolutely terrific race. It really was very enjoyable. Here are the unofficial results. Kenseth with his first Winston Cup win. Bobby Labonte finishing second for a third straight race here. The Earnhardts, well, Dale Jr. had one of the dominant cars of the night, lost some track position on his final pit stop, and only managed to get back from 6th to 4th in the final run of the race. Top 10 for Steve Park after an early spin out at lap 81. Jeff Gordon wound up in 10th position after just fighting his car all night long. And there he is. The celebration is about to begin. And let's go to Ken Squire with our race winner.
A rookie has done it, but it was a dark horse from Cambridge, Wisconsin. This Badger just kept digging. Matt Kenseth, 28 years of age, has done it. A rookie has won the Coca-Cola 600, and here he is. Matt, congratulations. Beautifully driven race from top to bottom.
Man, I can't believe how good our race car was. Robbie and the guys did a great job. Dewalt Ford was really good all night. I can't thank Mark Martin and Jack Roush enough for this opportunity. If I just had one wish could come true right now, I wish my dad was here with me today to share in this moment. But I really have to thank the Lord for this great opportunity he's given me.
Last 100 miles, were you pretty confident that you had it?
No, I sure wasn't. I wasn't confident we had it until then. There, I was using the tires pretty hard to try to keep Bobby behind me, and I didn't know whether he was saving it or whether he was going wide open, and I couldn't run any harder.
Well, you certainly ran it hard here at the finish. Labonte started to make a run. We thought he was going to come back. Did you get any messages from along pit road here?
I can't believe it.
Here's Mark Martin. Pretty excited about this victory for Roush, Mark?
Yeah, this is fantastic. Robbie Reiser and Matt Kenseth are real special, man. This is great. This is matter. He's earned it, and they're going to win a bunch more of them.
Well, I'm sure you are. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Ken. Appreciate it.
Here's Jack Roush right here. Jack, you've got to be thrilled with the performance of this rookie tonight. Jack?
Yeah, Matt has just done a great job. Of course, you know, Mark Martin is part of the ownership of this team, too. And Mark identified Matt as a guy that could do it all. And, you know, Matt is mature, and he is with Robbie Reiser. And they're just, they've got everything they need right now.
Yeah, they sure matured tonight. That's for darn sure. Congratulations once again to Matt Kenseth and Roush Racing here in victory lane at the start-finish line.
Terrific win for Matt Kenseth. The other big rookie story of the night was Dale Earnhardt Jr., who came out 6th after the final pit stops, only could get back to 4th position. Mike Hogwood is with him.
And he's about 10 feet from victory lane, because I know you're going to say hi to your friend Matt Kenseth. I know you're disappointed, but you feel good for Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. I don't know what we did on that last set of tires, but I really struggled on them. We weren't the car we were prior to that, but Matt and them guys were consistent all night. They deserve it, especially after California. Pretty happy for him. He's a class act.
Is it really disappointing to you to just dominate tonight, and then on that last pit stop, you get back a little bit and just can't get it back to the front?
I didn't feel like we dominated as much as everybody probably thinks we did. I was really having to hustle to keep a car under me a lot of the time, and it was a fun night. I mean, I had a good time racing with my dad. Got to do that quite a bit, and run 4th in a race we had a good chance to win, but we lost to Matt, so it ain't too bad.
All right, we'll let him go say hi to his friend in the rookie class, Matt Kenseth. Dale Earnhardt Jr. wants to go congratulate him.
He led 175 of the 400 laps tonight, did Dale Earnhardt Jr., but as you heard there, just didn't have the explanation for what went wrong in the final 30 laps of this one. And he wound up finishing 4th tonight after appearing to be well on his way to a victory. It's one of the great things about this sport, that people who are such competitive rivals on the racetrack can be such great friends as well, and happy for the other guy when he wins. Back with more of the story of the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte in just a minute.